broadcast. Tonight we got Nathen joining us here to talk about some Lions football and the draft and talk a little bit of everything. How's everybody doing tonight? How you doing, Ray? Nathan?
Doing good. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good myself. Thank God I'm off of work. Just chilling now, doing this. It's been a day.
So, has it been a day, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for respect to the customer, I'll tell you live off the air.
I feel that. I enjoyed a day off. I won't rub it in your face.
Hey, we all need them. I had the weekend off, so that's a winner. So now, are you originally from Michigan and then just moved to Tennessee, or were you born in Tennessee and somehow became a Lions fan?
Fun fact, I am actually from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Broward County. My parents are from Flint. It was born and bred into me. So my parents are from Flint. I have grandparents that are from Grand Blanc. My aunt and uncle are from Traverse City. I have one uncle that still lives in Detroit. So the whole family is from Michigan. And then I am from Fort Lauderdale. My brother was born in Boca Raton. And then we moved to Tennessee in 98 when I was about 5. And I've lived here for 25 years. It was just born and bred into me. I got the Detroit roots from the family. And it's never left. Die hard Lions, die hard Red Wings, Pistons, and Tigers. I should be watching the Tigers game as we speak. I might just, matter of fact, I'm not going to leave the screen, but I need to click it on. And
I had them on while I was eating dinner, and then I turned them off. I don't know the score though. So
I'm gonna click it on. I mean, you know, not everybody else knows, but I'm a diehard weather enthusiast. I've been messing with storms down in Texas tonight, so I haven't even clicked on the game, but I'm fixing to click it on while we've got the podcast going, see how the Tigers are doing.
So that is a fun fact to see for this whole time. See, it's like weird because I got so much friends, you know, since I've had the Renegades, and people that I just met through football groups in a general. And then fun fact about me is I used to live in Tennessee. I used to live in southeast Tennessee, Tellico Plains by Sweetwater, about an hour and a half south of Knoxville there, in the middle of the mountains. So it was like the whole time when I first met you, like I just assumed I went to school with you at some point down there. And I just couldn't pick you off the top of my head. And then I would see you in Renegades talking Lions football, and I'm like, is this a kid I knew from Michigan? And it just happened to follow me down here, just a different part of the state. You know, I never really asked you because I just assumed, you know, we connected at some point in life. Just didn't realize it was just through Facebook only.
No, I used to work at a plant, or not a plant, a converted plant, because when Detroit shut down, when Detroit moved the GM plant from Detroit down to Spring Hill, Tennessee, a lot of the Michigan routes floated south to Spring Hill and Columbia. And when they shut down the original GM plant here, actually, they converted it into a call center for DirecTV, AT&T, and Apple. And there is, in Columbia, Spring Hill, Lewisburg, Tennessee, there are thousands of people that are from Michigan, dude. You wouldn't believe it. I worked at the DirecTV, on the DirecTV side of it, for about 18 months. And I would show up every day, you know, Michigan hoodie, which I've got, you know, repping right now, you know, Michigan hoodie, everything like that. My Michigan bag, all that other stuff. And they're like, "Are you from Michigan?" No, not from Michigan. And everybody was like, "Oh, I'm from Grand Rapids. I'm from Dearborn. I'm from Owasso." And okay, hey, I know where that's at. I got a general idea. But when they moved down south, all the Michiganders, they either had to, you know, cut their losses or move to Tennessee.
A lot of people did. Like when I moved to Tennessee, I was actually going to school, and like a lot of the local kids, a lot of my friends, would actually come up to me and be like, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah." They're like, "How in the hell did you find this place?" Like, we're off the map. Because, like, if you still look today, you can't find a map with Toccoa Plains, Tennessee. I mean,
Yeah,
you can deep really look and find it, but it's not something that's sticking out to the world. And they're like, "How do you know about this?" And I'm like, "Well, my grandfather is born and raised. Well, was born and raised. So he was like 13 and followed his dad to Florida, worked in the Everglades. Met my grandmother while she was on vacation when she was like 16. They got up getting married down in Florida, having a couple kids, moved back to Michigan for 35 years, and then he moved back to Telco to retire as his
right.
to go back home. So it was like people were just blown away. Like, how do you go from Detroit to to this little town with maybe 3,500 people max?
Yeah.
You know,
There are some small BFE towns in Tennessee. I mean, Bucksnort, French Lick, what's that other one? There's another one, Beersheba Spring. I mean, there are some BFE towns in Tennessee that people are like, that's a town. What? And you got 2,500 or less people in these towns in Tennessee. And that's why people move here, for these towns where you can get away and build on all this land. So that's
exactly.
one.
So let's start moving this back to football. So, it's cool. See, it's cool, to learn things about people, because I've always wondered, how did you end up in Tennessee? Because like before this show started, the whole time I thought you were born and then just ended up like one of those families that moved south from the north. Um,
Nah.
so how are you feeling about Thursday?
First of all, I'm pissed off because I got to work. But I'll be off. I should be off. I'm gonna look. What time does the draft start on Thursday?
Draft
Five.
starts at 8 p.m.
Okay, yeah, I'll be off. I'll be off. An hour, which means it starts at 7 here, so I'll be off right in time for the draft. I don't know. We got 6th pick. I know who I want. I know who I want. I don't know who.
Who do you want?
I want Anderson out of Bama. I don't want Jalen Carter. I'm gonna be an unpopular pick. Gonna be an unpopular pick with the fans. I don't care. I don't want Carter out of Georgia. Specifically, I have done my research, looked into it, and I feel that the risks outweigh the rewards. Do I think he's going to be a generational talent? Yeah, it's on the table that he could be a generational talent at number 6, but the character issues, he's got the potential there, and I'm going to relate it back to the hometown team, because obviously being in Tennessee, we could be looking at not as bad, but the first couple years he's in the league, we could be looking at another Pac-Man Jones with trouble with the law and stuff like that. I mean, dude's already on what he's got probation for it, or is he gonna get probation for what he did involving those charges for the staffer and the teammate, that the charges that he got. So do we really want to dive down that damn rabbit hole?
I mean, reality, to be honest, I think with his charges, they're going to get dropped to misdemeanor. He might get probation. I don't even think he will, to be honest. He might just get a hefty fine, speeding tickets, drag racing tickets, to be honest. Because I mean, if you really look into his crime exact, he didn't really. I mean, street racing's a big crime. You know what I mean? You don't want your player getting caught street racing. I'm not saying he trying to stick up for him and like make it sugarcoat it by any way. But what I'm trying to say is like he truly had nothing. I don't know if you could really say he had anything to do with them people dying. You know what I mean? Everybody in that situation made a choice to drag race for fun, and something bad happened out of it. Should he have left the scene? Probably he should have left the scene. He should have just been honest from the get-go, and he probably wouldn't even got arrested to be 100. And, he probably would have got his car impounded and, maybe taken in, but he probably would have got to go home after it all said and done. But because he left the scene and played like he was just around the block, and then, they found out that that wasn't the case. That's the reason why he even went to jail in the first place. Because now you're part of an investigation now at this point.
That's true.
So it's like he caused the South, I think, way more problems than there would have actually probably been out of the whole situation if he was just honest from the get-go.
I just can't justify drafting a player with a known history, known past issues, when you've already dove down that rabbit hole once, going back to the Ndamukong Suh days. We already had a dirty linebacker. And I'm not saying he's dirty on the field, okay? I'm not saying Jalen's dirty on the field at being at Georgia, okay? But he's got a history with the law now. So we're already one of the laughing stocks of the league. Okay, yes, we're an up-and-coming young team. We showed a hell of a lot of potential last year with, the last couple games of the season. Screwed our fate in that Carolina game. We had our fate in our hands in the Carolina Panthers game, and we let them blow us out of the water. And that was the one game we needed to control. Had we controlled that game, we could have lost the other games and been fine. But we take a player like Carter, and then Carter turns out to be, a penalty machine or a lawmaking or a troublemaker, whatever. Then they're all gonna flip that back on. Well, you knew he was in trouble with the law. You knew, blah blah blah. I don't like that. That gives me bad vibes, in my opinion. And in another sense, I like an underdog story. I'm not saying Will Anderson's gonna be an underdog story. He's already obviously a potential high pick, anyways. But obviously, everybody's eyes are on Jalen Carter. So shake it up a little bit. Take Will Anderson. I like Will Anderson. I mean, yeah. Alabama is more notably known for producing running backs. Derrick Henry, obviously, and a few others. But I'd like to see him take Will Anderson. That's at 6 anyway.
I wouldn't mind Will Anderson by any means. I think Will Anderson's a great player. I just don't really know if he's going to truly be there. And what would we have to give up to be able to get him would be the ultimate question. Like, I wouldn't be mad to move up, but I'm not trying to lose a second round pick for this year or really anything. I mean, if we can move up with giving one of our first picks and swapping picks and maybe up a 6th or a 7th, I'll be okay with that. I'm not trying to do nothing crazy with it though. Like, if they move up, as long as it's a good trade, I'll be cool with it.
I'm not trying to lose any picks to move around just to get somebody else either, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to do that.
I just think that they're going to pick the best player on the board, and if Jalen Carter is the best player on the board, I think they're going to select him. But I think it has a lot to do with what weight he's at right now, his head when they met with him in person. I'm not really too promised on they're going to get Carter because I was listening to The Ticket, the local sports show here, and they hate the Lions pretty much. I mean, now they're starting to slowly get on the bandwagon with them now. But they were talking the other day, and they were trying to say from their sources that they know everybody in the front office is pretty much scared of Jalen Carter. That's what they were putting out over the air. I don't know how true that statements are because obviously they don't say who the sources are, so it's hard to go off exactly if you can believe it or not. But according to the reports from the local sports station, that they're saying a lot of the front office is scared to even touch Jalen Carter. So that might be a good sign for everybody because I mean, especially when you got the JMO shit going on right now, do you really want to possibly deal with two players that could be doing stupid things? I
That's fair.
mean,
I wanna touch on something that was kind of might make this a little interesting, this podcast a little more interesting. It was between me and you a while back.
okay.
It was between me and you a while back, and it was brought up in my memories this morning. And this was before you even ever asked me to jump on the podcast. I meant to touch on this with you. It's kind of funny. It was brought up in my memories from what was it, 4 years ago? 4 years ago on draft day when was it Quinn? It had to be Quinn.
It was definitely Quinn if it was 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was Quinn. When Quinn and them made the wonderful pick in the first round of taking Hawk in the first round. And then I ended up going on and for a couple years defending Hawk over, top five this and that, all that BS over, him being a good tight end for them to go ahead and trade him at the beginning of or the middle of last season, right? Come to turn, I find out that in my memories this morning when I was going through memories, I was utterly disgusted with that pick when there was so much defensive talent on the board. I was none too thrilled with them taking a tight end at that high in the draft. I didn't like the tight end pick to begin with. And then I go on for what, 3 years to defend the guy for them to
Because
just for
once the player comes to the team, I don't care if you didn't like the pick or not like the pick, you eventually become a fan of that player. Yeah, if that makes sense.
that's fair. That's fair.
Like, no, I'll admit, I was really happy. See, we flip flop because I was really happy about the pick. So I think that's if I remember correctly, we talked, and I was all for the Hawkinson pick, wasn't I?
If I remember correctly, yeah, you liked the Hawk pick pretty well. And I was not I had like I said, it's in my memories. I wasn't thrilled with it with all the defensive talent that was on the board, and we lacked. I mean, we lacked defensive talent, and we needed it bad.
Yeah. No, we should have definitely went. We should have 100% went. Defense. I mean, especially after I see how it playing out with how it worked. You know what I mean? I thought Hawkinson could have been that player for the Lions that turned into like a Gronk situation, turned out to be a real good tight end for us. And it seemed like it was working out for a little bit in the beginning with Stafford here. We seen glimpses. And then as soon as after that, it was just like one what made me stop liking Hawk was one game, the dude would go off, he would be a beast. And it was like, okay, this dude can ball. The very next game, and it was like, where the hell did Hawkinson go? And then it might be
Yeah,
a couple games just like that. And then when you're like starting to get fed up, he was showed back up.
yeah. One game he's got 9 catches, 89 yards, a touchdown or two. Next game he's got 1 catch, 12 yards, and he's quiet. And you're like, bro, can you not break coverage? Can you not run your route to get away from the guy? Can you not burn him? What's going on here? Especially when that 9 catches, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns is against your division rival in Green Bay, and you've got Jair Alexander trying to lock him down, and Jair Alexander can't lock him the hell down. and then next week, you're on to Cincinnati and you're playing the Bengals. I don't know. I'm using examples here. Okay. I'm not saying those were the games. I don't know for real. Okay. I'm just saying. But, he'd have games like that where he'd, 9 catches for 89 yards or 100 yards, 1 or 2 touchdowns. And then he'd just it was the next game and he'd 1 catch for 15 yards. And you'd have Amon-Ra St. Brown would take over, which is fine. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown is supposed to be our number 1 anyways. But I could see where towards the end there, I was seeing where he was it was the inconsistent issues with him.
I mean, if Minnesota makes him a star, I'll give him more in the credit. I don't even think he was that impressive in Minnesota, even though half the Lions fans wanted to sit there and talk shit the next 6 weeks, like we should have kept him or something. And I'm like, no. He's done the same thing in Minnesota that he's done. I think he might have been a cancer in the locker room to be 100, because it was just a little weird that here we are looking like we're still in the middle of a rebuild. We're 1-6. Nothing's impressive with us. All of our player hopes are down. I mean, they just had a meeting about literally firing the coach and how they're not going to fire the coach already. That was when Sheila came out and talked to the media and was like, I'm not firing Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes. We're doing this rebuild, and we're going off through that. And then right after that, that's when the trade happened, not long after that meeting. And it was just like, okay, so here we're going backwards. That's what I literally thought when we traded Hockenson. I'm like, okay, this is telling me that we're not ready to win yet, that they're going to tear this team down even a little bit more. And it might be a whole nother year process before we see a winner in Detroit. So I was like, so I was frustrated, like every fan was. And so the trade happens, and it was just like after that, it was like, boom, we win. Boom, we win again. We win again. We win again. I'm like, okay, how the hell are we 1-6, looking like straight shit? We trade this one player away, mind you, one player. And it was just like, look the fuck out. Detroit cannot be stopped now. It was like our defense did a 360 overnight.
Wow. I mean, sometimes that's what it takes. You got to get rid of one player who the team thinks that, that is highly valued in the locker room because he's a higher paid player, and they're like, well, if he's expendable, I'm expendable. They can ship me off to whoever they want to because I don't have a no trade clause. I better get my ass in gear before they decide, to ship me off to Cleveland or, New York, where careers really go to die. I mean, okay, you can laugh at, whatever you want and say, people sign with Detroit and they, that's where careers go to die or whatever. But in my personal opinion, people sign with the Browns and that's where careers go to die, or people sign with Oakland and that's where their careers go to die. If people were signing with Detroit and that's where their careers were going to die, we wouldn't have just landed CJ Gardner-Johnson.
I think a lot of these signings this year, I don't think we can really count these, but because let's be honest, we're not looking like the same old Lions by any means at this point where we're at now. So I think we're finally seeing that culture change where a lot of these bigger free agents are like, you know what, Detroit's about to make some noise. I want in on this. But no, I mean, I've heard it my whole life, people, everybody, like, people only go to Detroit because they can't go nowhere else. And then, to me, that's not really the truth, because this is how I look at it. We overpaid a lot of years for a lot of players. I mean, I'll be 100 right now. I'm really glad that Trey Bly is back with the Lions as a coach. He was one of my favorite players back in the day when we first got him, just for the simple fact that, you know, he was like one of our biggest players we signed when I was a kid.
Right.
So, of course, you know, I was going to be excited about that. You know, now looking back at that signing, I see how stupid we were because we overweight paid him back then, because by the time we got him, it was after his Super Bowls. He was just a big name that came here and gave him a spotlight and made the fans cheer and go crazy over. Reality, he didn't bring us nothing. He didn't bring us a playoff, you know. Not that, and he wasn't a bad player, but that's just what I'm bringing up is, you know, that's what we've seen a lot when we were young.
I really thought, in all honesty, I happened to be, and I posted it in Renegades. But I really thought when I posted it in Renegades when it happened, because I kind of just got a kick out of it. I don't know, I think you saw it and you commented on it, but I didn't think that CJ Gardner-Johnson would come to Detroit. But when he posted on TikTok that that I guess him and Philly were parting ways or whatever, I just, being a smart ass, I snuck in his comments and I was like, hey, 313 would love to have you, dude. I mean, I snuck in there a couple hours after he posted he was leaving Philly, and I was like, hey, 313 would love to have you. And I guess 6-7 days after he posted he was leaving Philly, we signed him, and I was like, ain't no way he saw that comment. Ain't no way he saw my comment. He never replied to it or whatever, but he's in the 313. I'll take that as a W, whatever. You know, I mean, we all watched him play in Philly. We know he's a lockdown. So I was like, well, I guess I'll take that as a W. That was pretty cool.
I actually remember that because I commented right underneath you, and when you shared that TikTok after he signed, I was like, dude, I said then I comment something like the lines of, you know, you called it.
I was like, well, only if he would have replied to that and said, okay, I'll go play for the Lions or some junk like that, I'd have been like, well, I guess I spoke it into existence or some shit. Because I really thought I'm just gonna bullshit and comment, go play for the Lions or something, and he's gonna blow it off or some junk like that. Because I literally thought, okay, it's CJ Gardner-Johnson. He's gonna have a good market or a tough market. I didn't have a clue that, I guess there was, from what I heard, I don't know, there was some concerns there or something in his market or something that forced him to take a 1-year prove it deal, which is obviously what he got with us, a 1-year prove it deal. So I like I said, I put my BS comment in there and I was like, okay, whatever. He can't land the line.
I'm trying to think where he came from, because if I can remember correctly, his last team before he went to Philly, he had problems there.
Right. Because I thought, I was like, we don't have the cap space. We've got to pay our rookie class. And then and then I thought I think that was after we signed, or maybe it was before we signed Marvin Jones back or whatever. So I wasn't sure where our cap situation was. I knew we were close on cap with having to sign the rookie class. But I didn't know he was going to get I didn't know he was going to have to sign a prove it deal. I thought he was going to command a little bit more than the $8 million he got. But anyway, either way, I don't know. I've heard also, kind of getting back on the subject of, where we're at with the podcast or whatever, the draft class or the draft. We're with the mocks or whatever. We're rumored for Bijan Robinson at 18, which I wouldn't, be opposed to.
There's a lot of rumors circling right now with Swift. They're saying that Swift could be dealt.
I've seen that there's things interested in him. The one thing, I don't know. and this is, I guess this goes back to the fandom, the love for, a player. And this pisses me off how we, and you and I spoke on this one earlier, or a while back when it happened. We let what's his name? Dude that signed with the Saints from us. Running back.
Oh, Montgomery.
No, we signed Montgomery, but who did we let go?
Oh, Jamal. Which actually,
Yeah.
Jamal, speaking of that, Jamal is actually suspended as well for betting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, and here's the thing. And this is what I'm kind of pissed about like ESPN and all the shit. They mentioned his name in there, but they left it like at the tail end. So all these sports pages, the news, ESPN, all this, they made the shit all about the Lions. And I'm like, dude, we're just not, like, I'm not saying not to report it because it's the Lions. I think every news should get reported. But what I'm meaning is, like, the Lions are just now getting the spotlight on them for being a change franchise and going the right way. And this comes out and you make sure all the Lions are first in that listing. And then you mention the one little guy from Washington. And then at the very bottom is Jamal Williams as well for six games. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna look it up real quick just to make sure I'm exact. I'm pretty sure I seen his name.
See, the one thing that ticked me off and rubbed me the wrong way about that is, yeah, it was my fandom. It was part fandom with that whole situation, and he did have, up until week 13, he had more touchdowns than an entire football team. He had more touchdowns than the Broncos up until week 13. Which, don't get me wrong, Russell Wilson just shit the bed last year for the Broncos. But Jamal had absolutely amazing touchdowns. Now, granted, 15 or 16 of his touchdowns were from inside the one. I get it, short yardage game. I understand that. But Jamal went to the Saints on a cheaper deal than what we got Montgomery on. And that's one of the things that ticks me off. And yes, I get it. Montgomery is younger. Montgomery is probably more than likely going to thrive behind that O-line that we have this year. And he's going to probably be faster, all this other good stuff. But why do we not go with the same proven back that we had last year? And
okay,
okay.
Let me take that back. Jamal Williams did not get suspended.
Jamal Williams did not get suspended.
Yeah, I was wrong. This is just how they worded Williams' name in the post. Almost looked like below it there was another Jamal, or there was another J. And if you look at their names and how they spell them, if you don't look at them clear, they almost look like the same person.
Right.
But no, I get what you're saying, because I like Jamal when he was with the Packers on closer. I didn't like the Packers, but I liked him as a player and as a person. And I don't hate him. I am a little tad bit upset at him that he wanted to try to throw shade to Detroit when Detroit. And here's my thing too, is you have to look at the big picture why we didn't bring him back. We offered him the same type deal as Jamal Williams or as Montgomery. It was just, there was only like a couple numbers difference. And he turned it down. He wanted more money. He was trying to hold out and get more money. The Lions, from sources, the Lions gave him a deadline where they needed yes or no on. And he went past that deadline thinking that the Lions were going to chase him so he could get more money. And then it turns out that the whole time, that's not the case. The Lions went and got Montgomery because they were like, we're not going to lose a good we're not going to lose out on the other best back is available at this point. Which, if that's how it played out, I'm cool with it. Because you gotta make a smart decision even in a tough time. Because what if we wait for Jamal and Jamal still goes to the Saints on some crazy deal? Say the Saints outbid us. Now we got no Jamal, we got no Montgomery, we just got Swift. And that leaves the Lions weak as fuck.
Yep, that's what I heard is they gave Jamal the deadline. Jamal went past the deadline. So they said, okay, we're bringing in Montgomery. You're the odd man out, which, don't get me wrong, I'm at a point where them dealing Swift for what they could get for him, I'm cool with it. Don't get me wrong. I like Swift. Swift is a good back, but it's another one of those situations, and I know you're not a fan of it, but it's another one of those situations where he had a good year last year, but he's another one of those that just can't stay healthy. He had a good year last year, did fine, but he's just got the injury bug, and that injury bug bites us in the ass.
It does, but if you notice, it only bites us when he's starting and running every down.
Yeah, when he is running every down.
Swift cannot be our starting back. He cannot be our every down back. That's why we went and got Montgomery. I'm cool with keeping Swift. As long as we keep Swift and use him behind Montgomery for passing, change of play, change of pace and all that, then I'm 100% cool with it. If that
I could get down on that. Yeah, I could get down on that idea because you're right. It's the injury bug bites Swift when he's, running 3, 4, 5 plays every, 3, 4, 5 plays every drive or more, and he's the every down back. That's when he doesn't have good internal strength.
Yeah. Like I'm not trying to have a back where I'm not trying to see Swift trying to back. Now, don't get me wrong. For some reason, if they try it and it works out, then I am cool with it. If that makes sense. But now, but he has to prove. But Swift has to prove to me, and I think he has to prove to the whole team. Matter of fact, that it has to be done. He has to be able to stay healthy. You know what I mean? And there might be to it, he's been, I just shared a video on Renegades earlier today, showed players working out and their little off-season workouts they just had. And Swift looks like he's put some muscle on a little bit. He was picking up some heavy weights, which was good to see him actually in the gym. Because that's where this kid needs to be. He got the ability to be a great back. I don't know why he can't keep it all the time because it seems like you can watch him a part of a game and the dude's a beast. And then you see him again and it's just like, is it the same player? But I think that has a lot to do with the league. And I think last year helped him out a lot because I think for the first time in his career, he actually got to run freely, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He actually had a productive O-line in front of him for the first time too. I think he just had to learn to trust that O-line because he did get better in running through the tackles and stop trying to bounce everything to the outside all the time. And that's what he was used to doing here all the time because there was never no gaps open for him to run. And if it was, he was only getting a half inch to maybe a yard or two, Now,
if we go because we've got 6, we've got 18 in the draft. If we draft Bijan Robinson at 18, that kicks Swift out more than likely.
Oh, for sure. That's why it's key. If we see us draft a running back that high in the first round, for sure. Swift would be gone in a heartbeat. If
Swift
we
would
really
be the
don't.
odd man
I mean,
out.
because you can't draft a running back the first round and then keep all three. Maybe a
Yeah.
6th round pick, that's doable. But if you're getting a first round back in the first round, you're definitely freaking somebody's leaving. That's a for sure thing. I want to see us go defense. I don't know if you caught our broadcast Sunday night when we did the mock draft.
No, I didn't. And actually that was going to be one of my next questions was I was going to ask you, are you in the group? It's on Facebook. I think it's called Detroit Lions Diehards, because I want to ask you a question about that.
I think I might be in it, but I don't really go into a lot of the groups. I just share the broadcast and a lot of them. I go into them if I see them, but I've been so busy trying to build this community and this broadcast up and keep Renegades active that I haven't really ventured out too much.
Well, a lot of these guys in the Detroit Lions diehards groups, and it's hilarious. I sit back and I watch. I'm in a lot of different groups. I've left a lot. I left a couple of the NFC groups, but just because pure annoyance. But there's one that's Detroit Lions diehards that I'm in. And they do a lot of mock drafts in the off season up to draft day just to see how close they can get. And a lot of them are homers.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of them are homers when it comes to the draft, and do I blame them? No, because all they know is Michigan football and Michigan this and Michigan that. Well, you've got a lot of these guys, and I'm not on this bandwagon, but I want to see how you feel. A lot of these guys have us. I think we have 2 picks in the second round. I'm not sure. I don't recall. But it's either the 6th or the 7th round. Either way, there's a lot of these guys, and I want to get your opinion on it. Like I said, I'm not for it at all. I don't want to see it. You never waste a pick on this. But a lot of these guys in the 6th round are getting Jake Moody out of Michigan, kicker. I'm not for it. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm cool with getting Jake Moody in the 6th round. Only, and now mind you, we have to have a solid 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We have to fill almost all of our gaps because I'm not too worried. And even if we don't fill all of our gaps, I'm not too worried about it because the Lions still have like $23 million in cap space right now.
Right.
With everything they just did, plus the 2 players they just cut off the team, that just adds a little bit more money. Not much because obviously, but one's still on the rookie deal. The other one is, just a special teams player. So it wasn't like they were making, big boo bucks or nothing. But we still have enough cap space left to sign people if we needed to. But I wouldn't be too mad at Jake Moody just because I think it really would boost our kicking game. But I like our kicker though. But I think Jake Moody could be, a great kicker. He had a great college career. But like I said, it has to make sense at the end of the day. I don't want to see him draft Jake Moody just because I would like Jake Moody. It has to make sense at that point to draft Jake Moody. You know what I mean? Now, on Sunday, we did the fan mock draft, me and David on the broadcast. So a bunch of people from different teams picked off for their teams. I picked for the Lions, and this is what I picked, which at first I was like, okay, that's a good draft. Then I realized I kind of fucked up a little bit. But then all the Lions fans that were here watching the broadcast with us Sunday night, they were really actually how that mock draft played out. A lot of them were like, you know what, your picks were pretty good, and it's going to probably kind of blow your mind because I don't know how much you've heard of him possibly come to us, but I stayed home with the 6th pick. I didn't trade up, and I was actually going to take Jalen Carter, just because that's at the time my gut feeling that's who the Lions were going to pick at 6.
Okay.
Well, the people picking for Seattle, the girl and her son, they took Jalen Carter at 5. So I took Lucas Van Ness, defensive end of Iowa, at 6.
I like that pick. Okay, Vanessa out of Iowa.
And then with the 18th pick, I took Kalaya Cansey from defensive lineman Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I took him with the 18th pick.
Okay. All right.
And that's how I left it. I wouldn't, if I'm not saying that the Lions are going to do what I did, but if they did, I wouldn't be mad at that.
No, you can't be mad. You can't be mad at that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Vanessa would be a great pick at 6 if, in fact, Seattle were to jump and pick Jalen Carter at 6. And, excuse me, if we were, I would personally want Will Anderson, but I don't know if either Anderson or Carter is going to be there at 6. So I don't know, but that's just, my opinion.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would take Will Anderson over both of those guys.
Now, your pick at 18, I can't lie, not too familiar with, haven't watched too much on. So I'd have to go back and do my homework on the pick at 18 a little better to see. But I'm not real familiar with that pick. So I'd have to kind of trust your instinct on that one.
I just read a couple of articles, to be honest, and I seen them bring up Clancy's name a few times for being a very good defensive end and rumored to possibly be a good fit for Detroit.
Okay.
So just how the draft popped up and who I was looking to who's available, and I'm being 100% honest, it was just that his name stuck out. And I was like, if I'm a GM, I know what I lacked as Lions last year, and that was consistent QB pressure. So I'm like,
yeah,
why do I not grab one of their better edges in the draft and grab one of the better defensive tackles in the draft? And it made no sense because now it made perfect sense because you got Adrian Hutchinson on the left, you put Vanessa on the right. Now you got Bugs, the rookie Clancy, and then trying to think who else is on their D line now. Neely. You put them guys out there and the whole force. If our D line, if we have a good enough D line to make it past the offensive, we can destroy every offensive line we pretty much face all year, is what I'm saying. And we don't have to do nothing spectacular to our linebacker core. We don't need a big name at that point, because if you build up that defensive line and those 5, 6 guys right there on your defensive line are getting past the offense to the quarterback, your linebackers have an easy path now to the quarterback.
Who was the guy? I can't believe I never thought I'd forget his name. The guy that we brought up off the practice squad last year.
Houston.
James Houston, yeah.
Yep.
James Houston. I mean, all you need to do is plug 2 in the middle between Aiden Hutchinson and James Houston, and Vanessa would fit perfectly in between the middle of Aiden Hutchinson and James Houston.
Yeah,
plug one out there on that left edge, and boom, you're solid on your front 4.
And here's a cool fact about Vanessa. He can play D tackle. He's better at the edge, but he can take snaps in the inside. as well as the
Okay.
outside. So
Okay. So if you plug Vanessa at the edge, and then we draft, we draft a D tackle maybe, and something like that, and plug him in between Aiden and Houston. Your front four is set at on the first, four picks.
see, this
And we got a
is
force to be reckoned with on the front four.
this is the vision I had. Can you
Okay.
imagine a front four plus deep? Then if you look at the defensive ends we already have on roster, on top of that too, you could, by doing those two draft picks, you could have two complete rotations of players that can keep going after the quarterback and not get tired. That's what I really looked at. And then you could really screw with teams, because you could put James Houston at the edge. You could bring Vanessa inside tackle. Then if you got Clancy inside tackle, and then Bugs, and then Aegis Hutchinson on the other edge. Tell me, as an offensive coordinator, you wouldn't really fucking be like, okay, how the fuck am I going to stop these guys? You know what I mean?
I mean, they had a problem stopping Aiden Hutchinson and James Houston alone last year.
And then you got Kaminsky. Don't forget, we got Kaminsky back too.
Yeah. John Kaminsky too.
So I mean, you could totally screw a lot of people up. Like you could mess with offensive coordinators all day. Yeah, I think we would if that played out, which I really don't think it's going to play out. So no one be taking my words seriously right now and come back at me after the draft and be like, I thought we were taking these people. I'm just telling you what I did in the mock draft. But you know what I mean? That's how I looked at it. I was just like, man, you could really do so much things to that D line if you got those players.
Well, I mean, it's a draft for a reason. I mean, I want him to take Will Anderson at number 6, and these dumb shits could go over here and pull and this is just a scenario for everybody watching, just a scenario, okay? But it's, I'm just saying, it's a draft for a reason. They're not going to, but they could draft Jake Moody in the first round. It's not going to happen. Nobody drafts a kicker in the first round. Calm down. But, I mean, I'm just saying, that's how the draft works. It's just, they could do whatever the hell they want to do. We saw them, for Pete's sake. They drafted Hawkinson 4 years ago in the first round when there was defensive talent on the board left and right. So, but no, I wouldn't. I know what you're wanting, or what you said that they may do, or what they could do, or what your mock draft was. So, but no, I wouldn't come back and say, well, Chris said this, that's what they should have done. I'm not going to hold you to that now.
No, I was just pointing out, like, I'm really excited for that. We're actually in the process. I'm going to do a live stream. My cousin's going to jump on. I'm actually looking for a couple people that want to jump on Thursday and just having fun and literally talk about the draft. It's not going to be exactly like an interview episode like this. It's going to be more fun. But I'm looking forward to that Thursday, because Thursday is going to be exciting. I think some big things could happen. There's been a lot of talk with Henry getting traded to the Eagles.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that tonight too, with Derek being traded to the Eagles tonight, or not tonight, but Derek being traded to the Eagles too. I'll Thursday, because I get off right around draft time on Thursday. If you want to have me back on. If you don't, that's cool.
I'll be down to have you back on.
Yeah, I get off.
Like I said, I'm looking for a few people.
I get off right around draft time on Thursday, so I'll be home probably about half hour after the draft starts, 20 minutes after the draft starts, so I might be a little late, but I'll be here.
Oh yeah, I'm going to run it until the draft's over. to the first round's over. I might do one on Friday. It just really depends on if people want to do it again on Friday. I might actually have a funeral to go to on Friday, so I'm not 100% if I will even be around for Friday, but I definitely don't want to miss Thursday. And then
That's uncool.
And then who knows? I might even do something on Saturday if like I said, if more people want around and want to do it.
I'm free Saturday all day.
Okay.
If you need me, shoot me an inbox, shoot me a text, holler at me. I mean, if you want to go live or do what you need to do, I'll fill a spot or whatever. I'll talk football all day long, just like I'll talk weather all day long. You could care less about the weather, but I'll talk weather all day long. So whatever.
Oh, so what would you be shocked to see Henry get traded to the Eagles?
No, I wouldn't. Titans are about to start a rebuild, and nobody's going to be happy about it.
Is there a lot of talk down there in that Tennessee area about the plans?
There's talk about the Titans starting. There's talk about the Titans getting rid of Tannehill and Henry going to the Eagles, and then there's trade rumors surrounding Henry going to the Eagles. So yeah, Titans are about to dive into full on rebuild mode here shortly. They want to I guess they want to reunite. Excuse me. He's safe. Sorry, I'm watching the Tigers game.
Oh, you're good.
Cabrera just ran out a single. Yeah, there's talk about shooting Henry to the Eagles to reunite him with AJ Brown, which will make Titans fans absolutely happy because AJ Brown got what's his name? John, the old GM of the Titans. AJ Brown got the old GM of the Titans fired. When he came in and manhandled the fucking Titans. So the Titans trade Derrick Henry to the Eagles for whatever pick the Titans have. Because I also heard another rumor. I don't remember where I heard it. I'll tag you in it later once I find it. The Eagles are looking to move up towards our pick at number 6. I don't think the Lions are that dumb. I hope to God they're not. We need some big comp. I want some big comp from the Eagles for that pick. Matter of fact, if that's true or if that's a rumor, if the Eagles want pick number 6, you give me your pick. You give me a second, a 4th rounder next year, and you give me AJ Brown. And I'm asking a lot. I know I'm getting laughed at in the comments right now. I don't care, but you give me for the talent that's there in the draft this year. I want your 1st this year, a 2nd next year, a 4th next year, and you're going to give up AJ Brown if you want my 8th round, or if you want my number 6 pick. And no, I don't care if I'm getting laughed at in the comments right now, but I really don't. But I've heard. I'll have to find it again and move it around. I'll tag you in it. But I heard something. I don't know where I read it. I think it may have been on 97.1 The Ticket, or it might have been on M Live. I don't remember. That the Eagles were looking to move around into the top 10. Which if they're getting Derrick Henry, they've got AJ Brown. That kind of makes me wonder who they'd want to go for on the D side of the ball. I mean, I read where the Panthers have locked in. They've made a consensus pick on who they're taking at quarterback for number 1. They didn't reveal who they're taking. My bet is going to be that they're going to take Bryce Young. Personal opinion, and yeah, there would probably be some Michigan bias in here. CJ Stroud's going to be another Ohio State bust. Ohio State just can't produce NFL caliber quarterbacks. We've seen it time and time again. I mean, Cardale Jones busted. Troy Smith busted.
A lot of them busted. That's why
who else is busted? I mean, there's Troy Smith is busted. I mean, they've all fucking busted, including the Bears quarterback. The Bears quarterback isn't a quarterback. He's a damn running back, and he's got. And they're going to call me out in the comments again, but I don't give a shit. He's got 2 or 3 years left in the league, if that.
You think Justin Fields has already shown his true talent?
Yeah, he's shown his true talent. He's a running back, and he's one long run and a tackle away from busting out of the league. He's going to go on a long run down the sidelines, going to get tackled, and that ACL is going to go bye-bye. I don't wish for it to happen, but he's a running quarterback. And what happens with running backs, and what happens with people who rely on their legs? They take one shot to the leg, one shot to the knee, and it's over. You know, I mean, you can only rely on your legs and stuff for so long that once you take that one shot, it's done. So let Justin Fields keep getting out of the pocket, keep going on those 30, 40-yard runs, and let Jalen Ramsey catch him in the open field.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's going to run down the field one too many times. And I mean, hell, he might even jump over the water table one day, and it's going to be all but over. And like I said, I don't wish it on anybody. You never want to wish a guy's career away, but he's going to do it to himself, being a mobile quarterback. And I get it. You've got to be a two-way player in the league to be successful. You can't just be a pocket quarterback these days. But for a quarterback, being a pocket quarterback gets you longevity in the league. That's why your damn O-line is there. I mean, Joe Burrow found that out the hard way, not having an O-line to protect him, and it almost cost him his career. But you got to stay in the pocket and pass and, that run every once in a while. You can't be out there running 15, 20 times a game and expect your career to be, Tom Brady-esque career.
But let's be real here. And I'm not saying you're wrong, because there's definitely 100% for sure the right to be concerned, especially if you're a Bears fan, about your quarterback. But I will stick my head out just a tad bit for Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is actually the one quarterback from Ohio State, that could break it in the league. And only why I'm saying that is because I don't think he's had a fair wide receiver core to throw the ball to. This year, after DJ Moore, now you're getting a healthy Claypool, you're getting a Don Mooney back healthy. You put those back, this is going to be the year we will find out if this is going to be the year we'll find out if Justin Fields is actually a good NFL quarterback. 100%.
See if he can throw for more than 1,500 yards this year.
Yeah.
Let's see go back. We can have this conversation once the stream ends, because we're going to have to. We can't back out. Well, you can. You got another phone over there?
Yeah, hang on. I will. Sorry, what's up, David? If you're still here, my bad. I just clicked on Kick and seen your comments.
If you pull up his stats, I don't think he's had anything over 1,500 passing yards since he's been in the league.
Oh no, he for sure hasn't. But who has he thrown the ball to? That's what I'm really bringing up. Is look at the Bears roster the last 2 years and tell me who solid he could throw the ball. He's never had a St. Brown. He's never had a number one receiver to go to. And that's what I think the Bears' biggest problem is. I've always said the Bears. I've always said the Bears can build a defense to win you the fucking Super Bowl in the house. What they always seem like they always fail at is a quarterback and a wide receiver. They've had good running backs. They've had really good defenses, but it seems like they can never have a QB, a wide receiver core, and a defense all at the same time.
I guess
if that makes sense.
I guess the only reliable wide receiver he's had in the last 2 years would probably be Allen Robinson, would it not?
Yeah, and Allen Robinson wasn't really that much. I mean, he made his few moves over the couple of years he had him, and then ran over there to LA to basically lay a goose egg because he didn't really do much in
That's
LA.
fair. Right.
I mean, the best wide receiver that I can remember the Bears truly had, like the number one receiver that you could gunsling a ball to, would be Brandon Marshall. He's like the last one on the top of my head that I can think of a Class A receiver the Bears have had in my lifetime.
And I was gonna say that was really back in the Jay Cutler days, and that was the Detroit Lions cornerback's favorite quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
We loved Jay Cutler.
Hey David, are you a Bears fan? That's right. They got Miller too, I think. Or no, is it Miller?
Yeah, it was Miller.
Who's their tight end? Who's their tight end right now?
I don't know who it is now, but it was
Zach Miller. Yeah, they had Zach Miller.
Before he broke the shit out of his leg, it was Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they got another good one right now that's he's starting to make Komet. Justin Fields towards the end of last year has made a relationship with Komet, and they had some real nice connections in the year this year. Yeah, so you add him plus DJ Moore that we all know can ball out. You know, Justin Fields, I'm not saying Justin Fields and the Bears are going to take the North by any means, but I would not surprise the Bears be in second place, depending on what happens with the Vikings. Okay, so David on Kick is a Seahawks fan.
A Seahawks fan?
Yeah. The Seahawks, man, they're surprising. Pete Carroll, I'm going to give David a little shout out on Pete Carroll because I thought like Pete Carroll was like really starting to lose his way in the league. You know, he won the Super Bowl, then he fucked them the following time they went to the Super Bowl. And ever since then it's become like mediocre, and then the Russ and bumping heads and shit happened. So I was sitting there like really starting to think like, oh, okay, Pete Carroll might be losing it. And then, they sign their quarterback. What's his quarterback? I know his name. We were just talking about him on Sunday. Geno Smith. They signed Geno Smith, and I'm like, they really going to give Geno another try? Like, haven't we found out about Geno? And then they go to the playoffs this year. And I was just like, man, you gotta give credit when credit's due. I'm happy for Geno Smith because out of a lot of NFL players, I feel like that guy got screwed, man. He got his jaw broke with the Jets, let go, and then everybody's just like, you're a backup QB. You're not a starter. And I was like, wait a minute, Geno never really got a fair try after he got his jaw broke. He pretty much just got shopped around the league after that as a backup. Yeah, I mean, trading your big QB like Russell Wilson. I mean, look at the Lions. I was one of the last people on board with trading Matthew Stafford. Where were you when Were you upset about the trade, Reno? Because I know when the trade rumors came, and then I heard he asked for a trade, I was pretty pissed. I was like,
Yeah,
"Are you serious?"
I was down in the dumps. I couldn't believe that Stafford wanted to leave Detroit and all that other stuff. And I'll be dead honest, I was not on board with trading him to the Rams for Jared Goff. I was not, I knew that with going and moving on from Stafford, I knew that they wanted to get younger, obviously. I knew that was the goal. And I just was not on board with trading for Jared Goff whatsoever for that one. It was not a pleasant day in my house when we made that trade.
Oh no! At first I was mad about it. I was mad, and then by the time the trade happened, I was coming. Thank you, David, for the foul, and we'll see you next time. Hey, we go live every Sunday, and then it's either Tuesday and Thursday. I'll interview a different type of fan, around the league. So definitely follow, and we'll see you on Sundays and Tuesdays and Thursdays, bud. I appreciate the follow, and thanks for joining. But yeah, like I was saying, I was really upset at first, but then when it happened, I was like, like David said, he told his buddies, he told his buddies that it was a good thing for them to trade Russell Wilson, and honestly, if we didn't trade Stafford, do you think we would be right where we're at right now? I don't think so.
We'd probably be further away from where we are than what we're at now. My opinion.
Just because the money, the cap hit, and just as health wise. I mean, look how bad and unhealthy he is right now.
Yeah.
Like they got so much questions. Can Stafford even make it through this whole season?
And I said it a while ago when he was in Detroit. I tried getting it out there and tried saying it because the funny, well, not funny, but my mom has some of the issues that Stafford is dealing with his back. Not the fracture part of it, but some of the nerve issues that Stafford deals with his back. Okay. And those are lifelong issues. Now, do we have the money that Stafford has? No. So she can't get that, level of care that Stafford's getting. And everything like that. But that's something that unfortunately is going to plague him the rest of his life. That's something that he's going to have to deal with off the field. But he can get a better level of care for it and get it, surgically repaired and better taken care of. And I said something, 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago, something like that, about it being chronic. And it's not chronic. It's not chronic. When I think 1 or 2 of the articles was like, yeah, it's a chronic issue. And I was like, I know it's a chronic issue. My mother deals with it. I'm not dumb, And I mean, of course, being disabled and all this other stuff, I'm well versed in the medical field. I've been dealing with the medical field 29 and a half years now. I knew it was chronic from the day that he got diagnosed with it. And it's gonna plague him. And now all these people are like, well, he's dealing with these back issues and he's dealing with this, and is he going to be able to play again? And now there's questions surrounding his future, and it's been all back and neck issues. It's not going to be surprising to see him have to have at least 1 or 2 more surgeries if during seasons, or if he continues his career within the next 4 or 5 years. He's going to have, my guess is, a fusion surgery.
I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't had one. I mean, he broke his back. He broke his back when with Detroit, played 2018, right? 2018 on a broken back. 2019, he 2000 or no, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. I went back too far. It was 2019. He
Yeah.
broke his back. The first time, played the whole season finished the season on it with a fractured back, mind you. Broken,
Yep.
fractured, same thing. 2019, he re-fractured his back, and Patricia and Quinn shut him down, and he was pissed about it. And then after 20, that's when he got traded to LA and made it through the season, and messed his elbow up in the playoffs and at the end of the season, where they thought last year he was going to have Tommy John surgery just to play. And then he chose not to have surgery, rehabbed it, and was able to go for last season. And then towards the end of the season, that's when, well, not maybe towards the end, but like right there in the middle, pushing the end, that's when the his spine fusion happened in his back.
Right. He's heading towards, and like I said, it all matters on how long he's going to end up continuing to play, but he's going to end up, and I don't know, like I said, how long he's got left, but we'll see. He'll end up having to probably have a couple of the vertebrae in his spine spinally or surgically fused once his career's over, or if he continues to play, probably in the off season, to decompress the to stop the decompression on his nerves, so that he can attempt to alleviate the pain in his back and continue to play, or continue to try and live pain free. And that's going to be one of the issues that he's going to have to address here going forward. That's going to be one of my guesses. And it's all going back to those fractures that he suffered in his back with the vertebrae, depending on how they healed and stuff like that.
How do you feel about those Lions fans that I don't see them as much anymore since this information came out about Stafford and his health? But before all this came out, I was seeing statuses throughout groups about how Stafford's going to leave LA, come back to Detroit, and win Detroit a Super Bowl, and all this crazy nonsense. And I'm like,
no, not going to happen. I mean, do I think that Stafford will retire a Lion? Yes. Do I think that Stafford will come back and play his last year and then retire a Lion? No. I think Stafford will end up signing a one-day contract after he calls it quits, and he'll retire a Lion. That's where he played a majority of his career. What, 10 years?
Yeah.
10 years, something like that. He played a majority of his career with the Lions.
Oh, actually 11. Or no, 12. He played 12 years. Sorry. 12 years here in Detroit.
His heart's in Detroit. He reps the 313. He loves the 313. And he'll sign a contract with Detroit. He'll retire a Lion. He's got a Hall of Fame resume. He continues to strengthen that Hall of Fame resume year in, year out, 2,500, 3,000 plus, 4,000 plus passing yards, all these touchdowns, everything like that. Dude continues to put his name into Canton. So I believe that he'll, call it quits. He's probably got about, my guess is 5 years left. And then he'll retire. He'll sign a one-day contract with the Lions, call it quits, and he'll go into Cooperstown or into Canton. I'm watching baseball. He'll go into Canton a Lion is what'll happen. I don't think he'll come back and give us 1 year as a Lion and then retire a Lion. But I mean, I could be wrong. Hell, I don't know. Would I like to see it? Depending on how Goff plays out and stuff like that. I have reservations about Goff. I'm at that point where I would be comfortable taking our next quarterback at some point. Not sure if it would. I'm really not sold on it this year. They're all going to go within the top, probably 5 picks, 6 picks this year. Haven't really paid attention to the class next year yet, to be honest with you. So I don't know, but we need to start already, kind of gearing up, looking for somebody that Goff can mentor and that can sit behind Goff for when Goff starts his kind of getting over the hill and downtrending. And because don't get me wrong, Goff is still young, Goff still got potential, and Goff can still be, Goff is still our leader going forward and moving forward. But it can change and it can come at any time. We can go from having Goff, and Goff can be, our leader, winning us 8 games a season, which is not where we need to be. We need to be winning 10, 11 games a season. But Goff can, get us where we need to be. But then all of a sudden, Goff can just go on that downturn, and we need a solid backup. Which there's rumor that we're signing Bridgewater after the draft to be our number 2, which is going to be a solid number.
We do got a contract offer to Bridgewater, and basically Bridgewater's just waiting to see if there's any starting caliber offers after the draft in case somebody don't get their quarterback, etc. Which I think at this point it's probably not going to happen since Jets got Aaron Rodgers, Saints got Derek Carr. So I don't really see him getting a place to start.
Right.
Tampa got Baker. So I don't really see too many options. So I kind of expect him to sign with us at this point.
And that would be in all fairness and honesty, people can say what they want about Teddy. That's going to be a solid number 2 option for us. Lions fans aren't going to cry and bitch and whine every time Goff goes down with an injury, or Goff comes out for a play because he smacked his hand or his shoulder hurts, or, whatever. And then we have to go to a backup, because for the last 6 years, every time we have to go to a backup, Lions fans have been crying. They've been falling over of a heart attack because our quarterback carousel in the backups has been absolutely horrid. David Blau, Nate Davis, and all these guys, and it's been an absolute dumpster fire at the number 2 and number 3 quarterback position. And I'm sure you could walk out there and you could find a guy off the street that would be better than 3/4 of the NFL caliber number 2 quarterbacks that we've had on the damn roster.
But here's my question though. And I want to ask every Lions fan. So if you're a Lions fan and you're seeing this, because I know I shared to a lot of Lions groups, I want to see in the comments what's your opinion? I'm going to ask you, why are you looking for us to draft a quarterback for Goff to mentor? That's what I want to know. Because this is where it's like blowing my mind where people actually want this right now.
Why am I looking for us to draft a quarterback for Goff to mentor?
Yeah.
Because in just my opinion, Goff is a good quarterback. Goff's not a great quarterback. Goff's not an elite quarterback. Goff's a good quarterback. He's a good enough quarterback to bridge the gap. I don't see Goff taking us to a Super Bowl. I'm gonna be dead honest with you. I do not see Goff taking us to a Super Bowl. In my opinion, just my humble opinion, okay, if you yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about next year and excited about, what we've got going. But I feel like you could load us down with, the, you know, I feel like you could swap out a couple of our receivers. You could give us Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins. You could put Derrick Henry 2 years ago, Derrick Henry, 3 years ago, Derrick Henry in our backfield. And then you could have Jared Goff. And you could swap around a couple of our D linemen and stuff. But we'd have Jared Goff as a quarterback, and it's just Jared Goff. I don't think Jared Goff is the guy to get it done. He's good, but he's not elite.
See, this is where I have to argue with. And I'm not saying Jared Goff is elite, the baddest quarterback in the league, because he ain't by talent wise. But I'm going to sit there and say, you don't hold a team that sucked for half of the year. And I mind you, Jared Goff did not have a damn freaking defense for half of the season last year. Let's just be real.
Okay.
He still kept that offense without JMO. With everything dealt, he still kept that offense in the top 5 all year long. If you're not a good quarterback that can get to the Super Bowl, you're not going to keep an offense in the top 5 all year. Now, mind you, he's not a Patrick Mahomes. Can he win you a Super Bowl on his back? Probably not. He's not that type of QB. But you build a full team around the kid, the dude can play. The dude's already got to the Super Bowl. So that's what's blows my mind is when I'm hearing people like, oh, we need to get a quarterback so we can train somebody to take over because Goff's not going to get us there. And I'm like, but Goff has been to a Super Bowl.
Okay, that's fair. Now, I want to I want to point this out. You got to take JMO out of the equation because JMO only had 1 catch last year.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I said.
I said without JMO.
Okay, yeah, he only had 1 catch last year, so
because I'm not going to count that 1 touchdown or the 3 catches he made as regular catches, because that didn't do nothing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Was it great to see him catch those touchdowns? For sure, 100%. But at the same time, it didn't really technically do anything for our season because we were already winning games without his production. By that time, he got it.
Yeah, we got a quarter of a biscuit out of the whole serving size from JMO last year, and now he's stuck on the sidelines for 6 more damn games again, because of his own ignorance.
I mean, it's his own ignorance, but let's not. And like I said, I don't know if you caught my rant. I did about a 30-minute video on 4th and Goal, a little solo broadcast about the horror deal. And I proved out some facts, which is fucking the league is hypocritical. I don't know.
The league is definitely critical. How are you going to have DraftKings as your title sponsor, but they can't bet or they can't do this or they can't do that? I mean, and you're going to call the Lions out and you're going to call one Washington Redskin or Washington Commander. Excuse me, I'm still stuck on the whatever. It's all. I'm gonna leave that out. Leave me alone. But you're gonna call one team 5 players out, one team 1 player out, and damn good and well it's at least 5 or 10 players on each team. Leave me alone on that. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Here's my thing is like players are allowed to bet. They just can't bet on NFL. So even though JMO bet. NFL. His bet wasn't illegal. His bet was completely legal because it was on college basketball. But what it made it illegal is because he betted at the practice facility.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where it's like, wait a minute, you can. It's like, wait a minute, you can sponsor the NFL and the stadium, sign everything, but God forbid a player places a bet on a college basketball game after practice before he drives home. Now he's suspended 6 games. It's just ridiculous. But then you have, players like Deshaun Watson, serve 11 game suspension. We don't care about the whole off the field shit because you were innocent to the court of law. But we're going to let you come back and play like nothing ever happened. And now, mind me, I'm not trying to say Watson's guilty of it, and of any of it, because this world's dirty. And I hate to say it, there's a lot of people, one girl does it and then tells another girl, hey, I agreed to this, but I'm going to turn around and sue.
Right.
You know what I mean? That girl says, you're right, me too. Next girl, oh yeah, me too. I'm cashing in on that. And that's just a reality. I think that's happened in more than one case scenarios in this world with famous athletes. So I'm not going to sit there and run the dude's name and say this dude's trash because at the end of the day, I wasn't in that room to know who did what.
Nope.
You know what I mean? But it just blows my mind that he gets 11 game suspension and allowed to continue to play after something so bad and such a black eye to the league. You know what I mean? And the news every day on every channel. But then the one player bets on college basketball at the practice facility. You get 6 game suspension. I mean, regardless, it's a rule, and Jameson is still responsible for breaking the rule. So he has to take accountability to that and serve the suspension. I still think it's complete bullshit. Because it's like, well, what does it matter if he's at the facility? It wasn't an NFL bet.
Well, it's hands down hypocritical to have a gambling app and a gambling sponsor, but not allow them to gamble in the first place. Don't get me wrong. I can understand not being allowed to gamble on the sport that they play. That's going to bring into question fixing games and rigging the game and the integrity of the game. I got it 100%. So we don't bet on football. That's fine. But he was betting on a college basketball game. Let the man bet at a college basketball game while he's practicing or while he's standing outside the facility after practice. That's totally fine. It's college fucking basketball.
He could have been in the fucking hot tub. They have at the facility, just just enjoying himself before he goes home, does the rest of his day. And he could have been like, oh yeah, this is a good bet. I want to bet this. You know what I mean? Not thinking nothing of it. But still the point. Yeah. I mean, they get told the rules. They know the rules when they get in the league. You know what I mean? So he has to take accountability. I'm not saying not take accountability to it, but it just blows my mind. Right. They can have these stupid ass rules like that. What were we talking to before? Okay. So now back to Goff. So we got a little subject to that. This is how I look at it, is Goff is only 28 years old. And if you look, he's played like 8 years already. He's 28.
Right. Yep.
He's still young as shit in quarterback ways. I'm not saying we don't need to draft a new QB in a couple of years. But right now, until Goff shows us he's not the guy, you don't take a quarterback until like the 6th round. I'm sorry. If you're going to take one.
I wasn't campaigning for.
No, I know you weren't. I'm just saying. I'm talking as a general franchise fan base.
I wasn't campaigning for Bryce Young at number 6, which is never going to happen. I mean, I think Bryce Young is going number 1 overall anyway this year, but I'm not campaigning for like a Bryce Young-esque quarterback or anything this year. But somebody in like the 6th round. That would be a sleeper pick, not fucking Will Levis either. But I think Will Levis is going 1st round too. But there's that. But somebody in the mid 3rd round or a 4th round pick or that actually has potential, not somebody who you're gonna draft and waste a damn pick on and cut them after training camp and let the Bengals pick up or let the Browns pick up and let them go on the QB carousel for the next 13 or 14 years, like Brad Johnson's been on, and let them blow away somebody's playoff hopes 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a damn good quarterback that can sit behind Goff, learn the playbook, learn the system, get comfortable with the coaches, get 50, 48%, even, 45% of the practice reps or whatever, and learn the damn system. And by the time Goff's ready to hang it up, or by the time Goff's ready to walk into free agency, or we're ready to let Goff go on his merry fucking way, he's got enough experience under his damn belt that he's no longer a white belt in football. He's a damn orange belt, and he can take over the team under center and actually win us, 7 games his first season as a quarterback in the league, at least 7 games. I'm not saying he's going to take us to the fucking playoffs or the Super Bowl his first season under center, but something substantial that we would have to look forward to and build on his following season.
See, here's my thing is I think it's still too early to look for that. And only why I'm saying that, especially if you got Bridgewater and he's going to sign, per se. You got Goff. This is Goff's last year. If Goff takes us to the playoffs, wins us the division this year, there's no way Detroit don't resign him at that point. And
right.
People freaking out thinking Goff's going to get all this big money. He might get a lump sum. I do have trust in Brad Holmes that he would make it like a Patrick Mahomes deal. Maybe not as big as money like that. I'm not saying he's getting Patrick Mahomes money. But what I'm trying to say is set it up where the cap hits ain't fucking killer. I'm pretty sure Goff will be on board to take, the restructurers deal if need be to sign more talent in the upcoming years. But if he takes us to the playoffs and wins us a division, he's going to get signed, I would say, at least 5 years.
5 years would be a fair deal. Take us through, his 33-year-old, 34-year-old season. I mean, that would be a fair. I would be okay with that being a fair deal. And then, in his maybe his 31-year-old, 32-year-old season, depending on his statistics and the way he's looking health wise, I guess, start looking for somebody to mentor him, or him to mentor and sit behind him on the bench. And
that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be mad at them if they took a quarterback later in the draft, like 6th, 7th round, maybe, and took the project, built him up, where if, when Bridgewater leave, that he could replace that player could replace Bridgewater. And then you have a guy there that knows the system, knows the coaches, knows everything, knows the wideouts for multiple years at this point, where if, say Goff's health unfortunately goes downhill, knock on wood, now you got somebody who can jump right in there and take off.
We'll see. Now here's my issue with taking a unpolished 6th, 7th round quarterback, and hear me out on this one. Look at our track record with developing players. Okay, look at our track record. We have a terrible track record with developing players, and it goes back to the days with what's that linebacker's name that's with the Patriots? That
I know what you're talking about.
Linebacker that's with the Patriots that Belichick stole from us in free agency, and he developed him into a starter after we just were like, nah, he's no damn good. I can't think of his name, but I mean, we've had several that we've just said, they're BS, they're no damn good. And then they go on to be absolute studs because we just can't develop them, or I don't know if it's that we can't develop them, or if they come to Detroit and they don't want to play for us, or what, they don't show out.
Oh, you're talking about Tarby?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest though. See, this is where you got to think of like this. You can't judge Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell with any of that because no offense, would you just saying that? I'm not trying to make this come out like sound like a complete asshole. That makes sense. That's how I'm saying it. Is if you stick to that statement you just said, technically Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell just kind of made you look dumb. And only why I say that is because look at Rodrigo. Rodrigo was picked up in the sixth league. Me and David did a little test run before our big mock draft to make sure everything was running. And for shits and giggles, he was looking through his book he keeps and tells you every player, every coach, every owner, tells you everything you need to know about the league. And It's like them little books you buy from Walmart, the football books you see that you never buy because you think it's stupid, but then actually you find out it's actually really helpful.
Yeah.
He looked up Rodrigo, and it said Rodrigo's coming in. It was showing him getting ready for the draft. It was like prospect draft, and they had him labeled as a good special teams player. That's all Rodrigo was labeled coming into the league, a good special teams player. Brad Holmes drafted Rodrigo knowing that everybody was like, he's just a special teams player. That's it. The kid started all season and was probably our best linebacker on the team. Him and Arizona. So you can't count this coaching staff and GM with the past, because if they've not only showed us they can develop players, because I mean look at all their draft picks. All their draft picks is starting. I mean, Kirby Joseph ended Aaron Rodgers' career, his last pass ever in Lambeau Field was a pick by Kirby Joseph, and he was a rookie drafted by Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's fair.
So they're showing you that these guys can do that, and they're doing it as we speak. Now, what I wanted to say about the guy you were talking about, Harvey or Jarvie, however you say his name. Oh, now let's be honest. That was a Matt Patricia and a Brad Kim pick because they were trying to make the Northern Patriots. We were running Bill Belichick's system up here. The only problem is Bill Belichick's system don't work without Belichick.
No, that's true. You can't run Belichick's system without Bill.
So I bet you can take Tarby and move him from the Patriots and put him with the Chargers, and he wouldn't even be a good player. Like, he would look like the same player that was on the Lions. There wouldn't be a doubt in my mind. Because when you draft system type players that can play systems good to a T, that's when they look really good in a system. I mean, like, let's be honest. And I'm a Tom Brady fan because he's from Michigan. So Tom Brady was always my boy. I always pulled for Tom Brady in the playoffs. I didn't care if he was a Tampa or the Patriots. Because, unfortunately, the Lions were in the playoffs a lot. So who the hell did I have to root for? The only person I could really, truly root for with passion would be somebody from Michigan. So that's what I would do. If Brady was in it, I was rooting for Brady. If somebody else was in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs and had a chance for the Super Bowl, and I knew they had a player that I liked from Michigan, I was rooting for that team. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I rooted for the fucking Packers when they won the Super Bowl because they had Charles Woodson.
Right, right.
That's the only thing I cared was to see Charles Woodson host the Lombardi. You know, so that's just how loyal I've been to Michigan alumni. And players I've liked over the years. And so, but if you look at Brady, and I'm not, and when I could make this comparison, I wanted to bring this up earlier, but I want to bring it up now since I'm already on the subject. Is like, if you look at Brady, talent-wise, he's really not that talented. And I'm not making that shit up. Like, tell me you've ever been amazed at Tom Brady watching him play.
Yeah, there's been a few times. Yeah,
I mean,
I could
don't get me
actually, I
wrong.
could actually.
Everybody makes good plays, but I mean, like in a star level caliber, making plays, like okay, like a Patrick Mahomes. Have you ever watched Patrick Mahomes and one of his crazy games that he makes a crazy bunch of plays from the start of the game to the end of the game, and you're like, like throwing the ball left-handed behind his back, no looking shit type shit he's done in these games. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Have you ever sat and watched a game like Brady and watched Brady throwing no look passes around the back, like all this crazy shit? No.
Not near as many as I have Mahomes. No, I mean,
But that's
but
what
the
I mean
only
is like
one of the things that I've got mad respect for Tom Brady that I don't have respect for a number of these quarterbacks in the league, including Patrick Mahomes. And Mahomes is young, and Mahomes is one of those quarterbacks that I will be pulling for a number of years. I actually want to see Mahomes pull a Tom Brady-esque career. I want to see Mahomes win as many damn Super Bowls as he can. I don't care if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl the next 7 years in a row. I want to see it
you
because
just want to see him
no,
break Brady.
I want to see him come as close to Brady's career, as close to as many Super Bowls as Brady has in his lifetime, because nobody will ever do it or come that close in my lifetime.
I
But
have to agree with you, but I'm sorry, I don't want to see Kansas City win no more, and I don't want to see Patrick Mahomes pass Brady because there's a
see,
reason, and this is why I'm going to finish this, and this is why I brought it up, is because when people hear you call Brady the GOAT and the best player ever to play, they simply go off of talent.
right.
And that's where I'm bringing golf in here. And I'm just trying to show a window that sometimes people overlook and that's why I bring it, is Brady's never done the type of things Mahomes can do on the field. Mahomes has got 10 times more talent than Brady. And I'm being 100% honest. Is he better than Brady? No. You know what still trumps Brady's the best? And it's not for the Super Bowls, this is this type of quarterback. Is Brady his brain. He was the smartest quarterback to play the game.
You also have to think Brady played what, 17, 18 years of his career with half of the rules less than Patrick Mahomes is benefiting from now. I mean, Brady created some of the damn rules that Patrick Mahomes is benefiting from now.
100%. 100%, bro. Here's like another thing I've been instance, and what I mean by like smart, and that's where I bring like Jared Goff. Jared Goff is not a talented, not a great. I mean, he's talented, but he don't have the big talent like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. But you know what talent he does have is he is smart when he played QB, when he's playing. And that's why I like him, because he can make the smart throws. He don't have to make, just because you can throw the ball 80 yards don't mean you should be throwing the ball fucking 80 yards.
No.
There's smart football and there's risking it. And that's where, like, I'm being honest, even though Patrick Mahomes has the most talent, I think, of any quarterback that's ever played the game, he's only as good as he is because the players are truly around him. Because he makes some if you watch the Kansas City games, they make some ballsy throws. He slings that ball. And he's just got good enough guys to make sure they get a hand on it and grab that. And that's why he's not throwing a lot of picks.
And that's one thing that I liked about Brady is, Brady went and I guess we'll have to watch it as the years go by. And it could turn me on a little more to Mahomes. Brady, with Mahomes' contract being absolutely astronomical, Brady took those pay cuts to surround himself with those players he needed to win as many championships as he did. Mm-hmm. Selfless player, wasn't all about the money. Brady made enough money over his career. He doesn't have to work at Fox like he's going to for the next 10 fucking years.
He's just doing that because he wants to.
Right. He's just doing that because he wants to, extra money, and now he's a single dad, but by choice, obviously. But, he went ahead and he took those pay cuts to surround himself, with all these players, and told the owners and the coaches and the GMs of the teams, hey, I'm taking these pay cuts, giving you guys the money and the cap space. Go out and get me this player and that player and this player for that amount of money, or see if they'll take that amount of money so we can stack these damn teams and make runs at the playoffs. Yeah. And now Mahomes asked for this astronomical ass contract, which left the Chiefs in a huge cap hole. And now they're going to have to, probably next year or the year after, whatever, cut all these players or get rid of all these players or convert his crap into signing bonuses to even meet the cap space.
Well, if you actually look at their cap space, they're actually really smart. If you look at his contract, they're really smart. And because Patrick Mahomes has been redoing his contract every year now to free up money. So they got a team player. Also, if you look at their team, they had like 4 different players at 4 different positions last year that helped them win the Super Bowl, and they were all rookies.
I know.
A few of their defense, couple of their cornerbacks were rookies last year, and they were some of the best on the team last year.
I was thinking about the one running back, Isaac Pacheco, I think.
And that's why I like Brad Holmes for the Lions, is because he is showing me that he ain't going to spend a shitload of money in free agency, but he can build a hell of a team with kids that can jump right in and get plugged right in and produce. And that's the new way of the NFL. With you having them overpay for quarterbacks, overpay for running backs, receivers now, and every year these position pays go up and up and up. So you have no choice around it. This is the way out. This is the way to have those guys, pay those guys that money you got to, because somebody else is just going to do it.
Yeah.
And Kansas City is setting up the foundation for teams to learn how to do it, and teams are starting to do that now because they have no choice, because it's just with the salary cap, you got to change. And now, but I still agree with you. Tom Brady was probably, you're never going to find a QB like Tom Brady again. And I'll just bring this up. Since you're a Michigan fan, bring this up. I don't know if you even know. See, when people used to bitch at me about Tom Brady, because I heard, I'm so sick of Tom Brady. He cheats. He does this. He does. I'm like, dude, like, you guys don't even understand Tom Brady and why the fuck the way he is, how he is. Because at Michigan, Brady won a national title, but he wasn't the starter. He was a backup to Brian Griese.
Right.
The year after they won the title and Griese went to the NFL, Tom Brady was a junior that year. started his first career, beat Ohio State, went to the Rose Bowl, had a pretty great season for Michigan. The next year they had Drew Henson coming in the league, or coming in the school. 5-star recruit QB, already drafted to the majors. So the boosters and all them went to Lloyd Carr and was like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but Drew Henson just got drafted to the MLB. He's still going to come here and play football, but Lloyd, I don't know if you told Brady if he's playing, because you got to start Henson. If you don't start Henson his first year when he gets here from week 1, he's just going to go play baseball, because why would he play college football and sit on the bench when he could be making millions playing baseball?
Right.
So that's the discussion they had. And Lloyd Carr had no choice but to go with it. So he called Brady in his office and told Brady to his face, like, hey, as much as I want to give you another year here to start and let the rookie, gain a year experience behind you, I hate to break this to you, but he's going to start over you. And I need you to keep your head in this case I need to go back to you in case something happens. And
no,
Brady,
I actually didn't know that about Drew Henson.
Yeah. And Brady stood up, and Lloyd Carr said this out of his own mouth on the show I was watching. And Lloyd Carr is the one who told the story on the TV about this happening. That's how I know this happened. And because he said this is the only time any player in Michigan ever talked to him like this. He said Brady literally stood up, walked to the door, turned around and looked back at him, looked at Lloyd Carr in his face and said, I do not give a fuck what you say, because you got no fucking choice. And he's like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, I'm going to start here my senior year. I'm going to leave here. I'm going to go to the NFL and become the best quarterback you ever see play the professional sports in your life, and then slammed the door on Lloyd Carr in his face and walked out. By week 2 of that senior year, Brady was starting again. Lloyd Carr said by spring training camp that Brady was killing fucking Drew Henson in training camp, where the first 2 games he split play between them both. By week 3, Brady was a solid starter and Drew Henson would have played baseball. And no one at Michigan gave a fuck that Henson left after that. Put it that way.
Huh. No, I didn't know that.
So then Brady goes to the draft, gets picked the 6th round, goes to the Patriots, never supposed to be a starter in the league. So like everybody's just thinking, this arrogant kid from California, from University of Michigan, is just this cocky son of a bitch because he keeps winning. It's like, no, this motherfucker got told every day, you suck. You're not going to be the starter of almost every program he was at. And This kid was like, you know what? Here, hold my beer. Watch this. I'm going to show you guys up. And once I get to the top, you're going to fucking know it every day. And that's what he did. So like his little arrogant stuff he's done over his career, like that shit it never got ruffled my feathers, because back in my mind, I always knew this. So I'm like, this dude's just really showing like, you guys all thought I was nothing. I'm going to make sure every day you're never going to forget until I'm done playing football.
Yeah, no, I never knew the story between Brady and Henson. That's an interesting story.
Yeah, like he was not supposed to be a starter caliber QB. He was not supposed to win 7 Super Bowls. Fuck. Who was it on the Patriots? Oh, I forget. Oh, who was there? I think it was Marshall Faulk. Before he went to the Rams, or did he go to? Or no, he went to the Patriots after the Rams, I think.
Yeah, he did.
It was, I forget the guy's name. but he played with the Patriots the year they won the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady's second year, not rookie year, second year, when Bledsoe got hurt. He said that it was Branch. I think it was Branch. That's it. I think it was Branch or one of those type caliber players on the offense at the time. He said Brady came in and got in the huddle, and his first words in the huddle was, fuck Bledsoe. That motherfucker ain't getting his job back. I'm here now. Let's go. And everybody just looked around he said everybody just stopped in the huddle like, what did this kid just say? Because at the time, Bledsoe was a pretty good quarterback for him. You know what I mean? So, and was Brady's first words was in the huddle. Fuck Bledsoe. I'm here now. He ain't getting his job back. Let's go. And they went down on the first drive and scored a touchdown, and Brady never looked back. Won the Super Bowl, Bledsoe with the Dallas, and the story. So, like, even in his first real chance to become a starter, Brady's first words were, fuck Bledsoe. He ain't getting his job back.
Never got his job back either. Went to Dallas.
Never got his job back.
Went to Dallas.
And, like that was, like, a lot of reports. Like, I watched, like, shows, like, on Brady, like, about all that. They said him and Belichick used to stay after practice up to like 2, 3, 4 hours after practice the whole year.
I mean,
all through the playoffs.
That's great. That's what it does. I mean, that's what it takes to be a damn good player. You want to be that player. You want to show out. You want to strive, and you want to you want to be that top-notch player. You got to practice. You got to go.
Like, everybody wants those players. Like Brady's dad was just doing an interview somewhere. I forget where it was at, but Brady's dad was just doing an interview, and they asked him, "Well, do you think your kid's coming back?" And he goes, "No, I think he's like, I can say I think he's done completely." They're like, "Well, what makes you say that?" He goes, "Because the first time in Tom's life, Tom's not practicing and training." He goes, that's the thing. He goes, people see Tom and they see him go on vacation. I see him after he wins a Super Bowl and he's partying. They think he's all having fun all summer. He goes, no. He goes, every year, Brady would take, they said Brady would take the first week off. After the last game of the season, regardless if it was a Super Bowl or just out of the playoffs, he would take the initial couple days off and spend it with his kids and family. By the very next week, his dad said that Tom was, by the second week of after the season, Tom was already in full workout form. Gym every day, working out, practicing, throwing the ball, doing drills from the week after he just got done playing. Every year, never stopped. They said, like, this whole time when he retired, this last time before he announced he coming back, he said that Brady the whole time was in Florida working out the whole time. He never stopped working out, never stopped throwing the ball, running drills. He was doing the whole time. So he expected Brady to come back last year.
Right.
He's like, because I see him still doing everything. He's like, there's no way in hell he wasn't going to come back. He goes, but this is the first, but like his dad said, he goes, this is the first year I've seen him not work out for over a month and a half, 2 months at this time. He's like, so I think he's done. Like,
yeah, and the rumors are still floating that he's going to Miami, which is a bunch of BS.
I mean, according to a report from sources, I read it through a tweet. I'm not looking too much into it, but I guess Brady was asked personally about coming out of retirement and joining Miami. And Brady's response back was, well, I do got a few friends in Miami, don't I? And smirked and walked away. So I don't.
Leaving people on the hook.
I mean, he's probably doing it as a little bit of a smart ass, right? But it makes you really think, like, I mean, Brady, why does Miami don't have a first round draft pick right now? You might as well just address that.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to get Tom Brady. They got caught tampering when he retired last year.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm not going to put it out there. But I wouldn't be shocked either.
Nobody would be shocked if Brady reversed and came back again. I mean, it's Brady. He openly said, "I'm going to play till I'm 45." So I mean, nobody would be shocked if Brady pulled a Tom Brady and said, "Hey, I'm back. Let's do it. Let's run it back again. Let's try for another Super Bowl."
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he did that.
Yep.
Also, I'm looking at it too is Miami might be the only place he would go. And the only why I say that is because it'll be a lot of fun for him. He'll have two of the fastest receivers to throw the ball to. He'll have a pretty good O-line. A great defense with Jalen Ramsey there. No.
Yeah.
It could be a great setup for him to get another 8th ring. Because I'm not going to overlook Miami. Miami is a Super Bowl caliber team right the fuck now. The only problem they have right now is can Tua remain healthy? That's the biggest question, which I think personally they saved their ass by signing Mike White. And I'm not saying Mike White is a gunslinger and is going to be a great QB. But if you watched him with the Jets last year, the guy can sling a ball.
Oh, Mike White is a solid number 2. Don't get me wrong. Mike White is a solid number 2 all day long. And if Tua, my personal opinion is if we see Tua get knocked around again and Tua gets that bell rung and ends up on the protocol list, he needs to call it quits. He's had that bell rung so many times that he probably should have called it quits last year when we watched him get knocked out on live TV. He's got to really start thinking about that future and the whole CTE outlook, everything like that. We know there's no doubt in my mind Antonio Brown has CTE. Antonio Brown is exhibiting a lot of symptoms of CTE. He needs to get his act together and seek mental help immediately. He was crying for it on the field multiple times in the past, and he needs to seek help. But back to Tua. Tua gets that bell rung, one more time next year. And Tua he's already concussion prone. He's proved it multiple times. They've misdiagnosed him, or, whether they've misdiagnosed him or just said, well, no, you don't have a concussion, but they knew he had a concussion and needed him to play anyway, because it's work is work and you're going to just play. Even though they have stringent policies in the league against concussion protocol, your brain is, the most important organ in your body. You've got to do what you've got to do to keep that brain healthy. Tua gets one more bell ring in his body, and that may just be the end of his career to begin with. So he needs to do what he needs to do to keep that damn thing healthy. And one more shot to the dome, and he may just end up having to hang it up whether he wants to or not. It may really force him to hang it up. I think he should have hung it up last year. That's my personal opinion. But he needs to get smart on possibly saving that money and doing what he's got to do in case he's really forced to hang the cleats.
Oh, exactly. I mean, not too long ago, he just released that he actually had real discussions and truly thought about retiring after last season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I totally agree. I think if he gets one more serious injury this year, I think you don't see him come back. That's why I think the Mike White is actually a great pickup for them. Not saying that Mike White is going to take them the distance or could take them the distance, but I do know this: Mike White got a damn cannon on his and with having the fastest wide out core between Waddle and Hill, you got a cannon, you're still going to score points. You're going to put up points. You got a good defense, you're going to stop teams. You can still win quite a bit of games.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I wouldn't doubt that secretly behind closed doors, since Brady is a free agent, that there might be some whispers between Miami and Brady.
Well, Brady's technically not a free agent. He filed the paperwork to retire from the league. So he's officially retired. So he's officially retired.
Yeah, but all he got to do is send a letter saying he's coming back.
Well, yeah. I mean, technically, he can just send the letter saying,
when he comes back, he'll be a restricted free agent because Tampa Bay, his last year with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So he would be a restricted free agent. Okay, that's fair. So he could do what he could do what he wanted, and then Miami would have, or Tampa Bay would reap some benefit of whatever he decided he wanted to do.
You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, like, he could technically come back. I mean, for shits and giggles, he could come back. He could call lines about and be, hey man, I want to play for you, Campbell.
Right.
For me. I mean, I wouldn't see the Lions pulling a trigger on it. With Goff and with our team how it is, because our team still got a very long, great future, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Miami's at the point now where they invested so much into their team. They're trying to win. They're trying to win now rather than in 5 to 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
See, the Lions, and this is my point on it. Is the Lions are a lot like KC right now. If you notice, before KC became KC, KC was building through the draft. They were making the playoffs, but they were still building through the draft, and they maintained that. Nothing's changed. They got their team. They got, and then they got Patrick Mahomes. And since they kept the same strategy, you know what I'm saying? They're staying young. If you notice, like D Ford, was it Chris Jones? Who just left the KC?
I think it's Chris Jones, or was it Frank Clark?
Or Frank Clark, that's it. I think it was. Hang on. Frank Clark was an older player. Is a little bit older player. He's a free agent right now. He played and he's from Michigan.
Yeah, Frank Clark.
But he was a productive. He was a productive player.
Yep.
For them. And everything, and he was a productive player for him, and he wanted money. KC said, "Sorry, bud, thank you for your services, but we're not going to pay you." They went younger. They're going to go young and draft it and get a young defensive end in the draft this year. That's what they're going to do. So stuff like that. I mean, teams are building it. Miami had a shitload of cap space when they put this team together, so they didn't have to worry about the money. You know what I mean? And so that's what you're gonna start seeing teams like, I think the Panthers are doing it right now. I believe they're a team like copying Detroit right now with the way you seen how their offseason went. They signed a bunch of good core players, and then since they got their core players that they wanted to spend the money on, they've been silent.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now they're heading to the draft. Chicago's trying to do the same similarity. you're going to see a lot of teams start switching over to doing this way, because it's the only way you can keep a complete team on the field is by drafting it. And now, before the draft, like, to me, we're starting to see the draft become even 10 times bigger than it's ever been prior. Because if you notice, there's years in the draft, it seems some players, and you watch a team draft, and you may not even see any of those players on that team in 5 years. Especially the teams who would just would build their teams in free agency. Because there's always been those type teams, you know what I mean? They go heavy and spend a lot of money in a free agent to get experienced players rather than drafted players. You know,
I can think of a couple teams who have went through, and their first round picks the last probably 4 or 5 years are no longer with the team. Yeah.
Look at the Rams. Complete incidents. They trade for Stafford. They spent all their free money on fucking veteran players, big name players. They go win a Super Bowl. I guess they can say glad it worked out, because there's been some teams that do that and then lose the Super Bowl and they never get a Super Bowl. And then they have to break the whole team down and redo it all over. So
they're in a continuous rebuild.
I'm not sitting here fucking shit on the Rams for what they did. They sold their soul and it paid off because they got a Super Bowl. But now they're in the other half of it where, you know, the Stafford banged up, not knowing how long he could be. And now they got a bunch of cap problems and they can't sign any players because they don't got the money to sign players like that.
Right. Yep.
So that's just what this league is really turning into. You know, if that makes sense. Like, this league is turning into, you can spend all your money on experienced players to make a playoff, go win a Super Bowl and whatnot, but nothing's promised because of the salary cap. Because after you max out your salary cap, how much money are you going to have available for the next season? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now you're going to start seeing teams, the smart teams, change now. And then the teams that are going to try to, you know, win a Super Bowl real fast are still on that course. And I believe Miami could be one of those teams. I don't think Miami was stupid with their money or anything. It's just they signed a lot of big free agents last year. They made some big moves this year. They still got, you know, a decent amount of young players. So I think, you know, they're still adding young players. At least they're still doing that. They haven't went off bonkers, but they're still in a position where by the time Hill is a free agent, if they don't win a Super Bowl before Hill is a free agent, there's a good chance you see them go through a whole nother rebuild before they even get close again.
Yeah, that would make enough sense. It would definitely make enough sense to see them to go through another rebuild.
See, like Buffalo. Buffalo's getting very close to a full rebuild.
Yep.
You're gonna the Vikings. They put all that money in Kirk Cousins and their defense and all that over the last couple of years to try to win one. They haven't got it done. Last year was the last big year that they had. They could try to get it done. And now this year, I'm not going to say they're going to fall off the face of the earth, but they still got some holes, and they're going to have to plug all rookies in the holes. Now, it might work out, but if they don't win this year, I could see next year starting a big rebuild, or at least a decent enough rebuild where they clear a lot of cap room and we start building around Kirk Cousins again. I don't know if what they're gonna do with that Kirk Cousins situation, because I think Kirk Cousins is a QB that a lot of people overlook and put Goff in that category.
Kirk Cousins is definitely a good quarterback. I mean, I don't know if I could see a full-on rebuild. They just picked up Justin Jefferson's fifth-year option. So, I mean, they would have to decide what to do with him after next year. And
they got
you know he's going to command huge money.
exactly. Well, for sure now because they just picked up the 5th-year option. If you notice, most of these big-time rookies get their second deal in their 4th year going into the 5th year.
Yeah.
Only players that get picked up a 5th year have to play out. It means 2 things. One, that player is on the verge of being a bust. Second, the team just don't have the fucking money.
And the Vikings obviously don't have the money because we all know Justin Jefferson's not a damn bust.
100%. That's how tight they're on the cap. They're on the cap that they had to pull that just to keep them on the team for another year after this year.
We know Jefferson's not a bust, so
now that gives them 2 years to figure out how they're going to fucking pay him. So that's what I'm saying. If they don't win this year, I wouldn't be fucking surprised. Kirk Cousins gets dealt. A couple other players get cut, and they go full rebuild.
Yeah,
and then they give Jefferson a lump sum of money. And I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is a trash QB, but Kirk Cousins is, I want to say, a good caliber starter QB.
Right.
He's too inconsistent. He's that bridge QB that a lot of people try to say Goff is. He's that QB that can take you to the playoffs. He can win you a lot of games. He can win you some games, but sometimes players are going to have to pick up his slack when he's off. And if you don't have those players around him when he's slacking, then it's bad, as you've seen this year. I mean, that's kind of how their season ended. Let's be real.
Definitely.
You know, they had the North locked. You thought they went to the first week of the playoffs, and you're like, "What's this?" Like, really?
Yeah. They went to the playoffs and they one and done. Okay, I see, one and done.
You know, like, and how they were talking about them all damn seasons, like, yeah, I still don't see it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just the modern NFL, what this NFL is going to. So it's on teams like, you know what I mean? Like, teams are in that position. That's why I think Green Bay is one of those teams. That's why I think you're so, like, you always thought Green Bay didn't want to trade Rodgers, right? That's what I always thought. Like, they never want to lose this guy. That's why they're dealing with all these shenanigans and all this bullshit every year. But now, as you see, they were like, yeah, please fucking leave, motherfucker, go. We don't want you.
Yeah. They waited till the last possible minute to trade him and get rid of him. They used all the talent they could have, got one Super Bowl out of him, and waited till the last possible minute and got rid of him today.
Like, and only why I'm saying that is because Green Bay is in a relation that they fucked themselves.
Yeah.
They kept spending all this money to try to chase that one ring that they weren't even really close to, except maybe a few years ago. Other than that, they never really made it past the second round in the last 3-4 years.
Right.
And now they're looking at it like, fuck, we got to rebuild. Because their cap space is pretty much maxed. They got holes. They might not have to fully rebuild on the defense side of the ball, but they're going to have to rebuild that offensive line, the wide receiver core.
That's okay. Packers fans aren't going to be thrilled, but Jordan Love's not the quarterback they think he is.
I don't think he is either, but, you know, we're definitely about to find out this year. And that's the thing. Like, it's so hard to talk. It's so hard to talk about somebody when you haven't really seen him play, because, you know what I mean? I have ate my words few times. You know, like I didn't think Patrick Mahomes was going to be something. They kept talking about Patrick Mahomes when he first came to the league, and I was like, "What the fuck is Patrick fucking Mahomes?"
Right.
Like, shut the fuck up. Like, who is this dude? And then all of a sudden the season starts, and it's like, all right, who the fuck is this for real? And then all the crazy plays started, and then you're like, oh, now I can see why this dude had a hype train. But at first I was like, who the fuck you talking? I'm like, this dude didn't even, I'm like, I didn't even know this guy coming out of college. And usually I know the top QBs almost every year coming out of college. I know where they're coming from. You know what I'm saying? And
I have my reservations about Jordan Love, and I have my record this year for the Packers kind of up here in my mind. And yeah, I'll go ahead and say it. I don't care. They will finish in the bottom. They will finish in the basement of the North this year. The Bears will finish third in the league this year, in the NFC North, but the Packers will be at the bottom of the league this year.
See,
I don't think that Jordan Love is going to be that good. And I have a record in mind for them. I'll keep it. I'm going to keep it in my phone this year and I'll screenshot it here in a minute and I'll send it to you. But I have my reservations about.
I think
Jordan
the Bears.
Love.
If Justin Fields can step up with the receiver core he has now, that he hasn't had since he's been with the Bears, I think the Bears can still second with the Vikings.
I don't know. I think that Justin Fields just has another bum year, and I think the Kirk Cousins to Jefferson combo and the Alexander Mattison. I think Dalvin Cook gets traded this year. I think that the Vikings just get rid of Dalvin Cook. It's my prediction.
It's a possibility.
So I don't know. We'll see. But
All right, buddy.
I do. I think that the Packers are the bottom feeders this year.
I agree. I don't see them unless Minnesota or the Bears completely fucking go 160 backwards or 180 backwards %. I don't see the Lions or the Packers moving out of the basement. But who knows?
Yeah.
Jordan Love might shock the world.
He might make me eat my words this year. We'll see.
I mean, a lot of people said that shit when Brett Favre left.
That's fair. That's very fair.
No one's seen Aaron Rodgers come. But the only why I think that won't happen is just because I don't think Aaron Rodgers was the greatest teammate.
I don't either, by far.
Like a few people, like I've heard a report that Jordan Love's never even hung out with Rodgers.
Yeah, I heard that.
Football field.
I heard the same thing.
He would invite people over to the team to go hang out at his house and never once invited Jordan Love to go to his house. So like here you are supposed to be mentoring this kid. Like that means you're supposed to, once in a while go out to eat with the kid, go to the bar, have a couple beers, or hang out at the house. Just fucking hang out and mentor the guy. And you're telling me not one of it happened outside of Lambeau Field, or the practice facility. This mind bogs me completely because that's why I don't see Jordan Love coming in and being able to dominate it. I'm not saying Jordan Love can't be a caliber starter QB in the league, but I don't think he's going to be something until at least after 2 years of fully starting in the league.
Yeah, no.
If that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to come in like Aaron Rodgers and just take the Packers to the playoffs. Like they didn't skip a beat. Because I actually, even though Brett Favre didn't like the fact that Green Bay got a QB, he was never a fucking asshole. He was never like, fuck you, Aaron, I'm not going to hang out with you teaching nothing. Because you could clearly see Brett Favre did his job. Regardless if he was pissed at the front office or not, he still did what his coaches asked him to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I do feel like Aaron Rodgers got the got the set off that Brett Favre, well, maybe not the set off because the set off I felt like was pretty dirty between both sides and drama. But he got the career I thought Brett Favre deserved out of Green Bay. Because Rodgers left on his own terms. He's the one that asked to be traded. He's the one that said he didn't want to come back there. You know what I mean? Green Bay didn't give Brett Favre an option. And he was way more of a class act for Green Bay.
Yeah, he was.
He didn't do half this drama bullshit Aaron Rodgers pulled.
Nope.
He didn't pull, I'm not playing unless you trade and get me Tom back and shit like that. You know, Brett Favre didn't give a shit who was on the field. He went out there and just played football every Sunday.
Right.
And gave you his all. I mean, got to the point where he was addicted to painkillers and then out there playing with broken ribs and can't take one painkiller anymore because he'll get back and his addiction will come back.
Right.
So he's out there playing with no fucking pain meds, you know, just brutal pain for that franchise and all the things he did. And then like, hey man, it's been 4 years, you gotta go. This kid Aaron's ready. And it's like, dude, have I not taken you to the playoffs? Have I gave you a losing season? No. So why the, you know what I mean? That's things I look at. Now, I'm not saying that they were stupid. I think they could have still won the Super Bowl in 2015 with Brett Favre.
They could have. They probably could have.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers played any like crazy spectacular to win that game, to win that season. I mean, I'm also not going to say Aaron Rodgers wasn't a Hall of Fame QB and a great QB for the franchise because he was for a long time.
Oh yeah, he's going. You know?
So I'm not taking nothing away from Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying is they showed Aaron Rodgers loyalty so much to the point where they couldn't fucking stand him no more. And they didn't even get they didn't give Brett Favre that chance ever. It was boom, you're gone. It's been 4 years.
Yeah, get out.
And I'll be honest with Aaron. He called it out on Pat show. They asked him, what do you think made him take so long to address that they want to move on? And he was like, well, to be 100% honest, he goes, if I didn't win back-to-back MVPs the last 2 years, he goes, this year would probably already happen a long time ago. He goes, I wouldn't even been in Green Bay about 2 years ago. He goes, they only kept me because of my 2 MVPs and what I was putting up. And he's not wrong. That's exactly what they did. And now they realize how bad they fucked themselves. Because they realized, holy shit, Aaron Rodgers was doing that by himself. Pretty much. Let's be honest. I will give Aaron that. He carried that team the last 4 to 5 years. And maybe not every game or all season, but in a lot of circumstances, he is the one that carried them because there's a few of those seasons they shouldn't even made the playoffs and they made them. And he was the only mug talking about playoffs and in all of his post-game comments. I mean, even this year, I didn't hear any other Green Bay players even responding to those type questions. Can you think you still make the playoffs? They were just pretty much, we'll see, kind of shit. And Rodgers was like, oh, we can still make the playoffs, but we need this team to lose, that team to lose, this team to do that. You know what I mean? He was the only one still thinking playoffs on the whole team.
Yeah, when the rest of them were just like, they were just defeated and done.
And he's the one that got them fired up and they almost made it until Detroit said, nope, not this year.
Right, exactly.
And that would have been the crazy thing. Who knows? If they make the playoffs, there's a chance that Green Bay tries to keep Aaron again. Let's be real.
True. If they make the playoffs, Aaron could have stayed.
If Aaron inspired that whole team to start playing hard after they already showed that they were done and quit, and they made the playoffs, how do you still trade Aaron this year?
Especially with an unproven Aaron or Jordan Love.
You know what I mean? It took them the 1 year that Aaron Rodgers couldn't bail them out to realize, fuck, we're fucked. We tied up so much money. We made poor Jordan Love sit here for these amount of years extra for nothing, because we're not getting a Super Bowl and we didn't even make the playoffs and the Lions beat us twice.
Yeah.
Like the irony, the crazy thing. If you told me Aaron Rodgers was going to get traded to the Jets in after his last year playing with the Green Bay Packers, if you told me the Lions swept the Packers, and if you told me his last pass at Lambeau Field was an interception to Kirby Joseph, I would have told you, stop, put the fucking crack pipe down. Just saying. I'm being honest. Like, to see how everything planned out, and we got that last fucking, camera action play of his career as a Packer. I'm good. It's like cloud nine. Because let's be honest, that dude single-handedly killed us year in, year out.
Oh yeah. Can't say I'm not sick of him. I mean, I'm glad to see him go. Do I, see the tide possibly turn? Do we know what's going to happen with Jordan Love? No. Can we make predictions? Yes. Can we make wishful thinking predictions? Yes. I mean, and that's all it is at this point, wishful thinking predictions. But I mean, we'll see what happens.
Exactly. I think this year is going to be great. I'm excited to watch the AFC East. Now, I want to see how that division looks with Rodgers in it.
I told a friend of mine who's a Jets fan, I broke the trade news to him. He really doesn't keep up with it, but he's a Jets fan. He doesn't keep up with it until season gets underway going. I told him and just my thoughts, I don't think Rodgers will make that big of a difference on the Jets. I don't think the Jets are that good, and one player will make the difference.
See,
Rodgers
I have to disagree with that.
Yeah, Rodgers will come in there and he'll make some noise, but I don't think the weapons are there. Yes, they have Garrett Wilson, they have Breece Hall, they have Quinion Williams and all this other good stuff. But I don't know.
See, this is why I have to disagree a little bit.
Okay.
They're all, Jets defense last year was the true number 1 overall defense in the whole league.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The only thing that killed the Jets was no consistent QB play. Mike White come in there and then gets hurt.
That would make sense.
Zach Wilson's over there trying to fuck people's moms. Let's just put it that way.
That would make sense with Sauce Gardner
and Joe Flacco was just too old. Okay. And at this point, past his good playing days.
Then the number 1 overall defense, that would make sense with Sauce Gardner locking down the secondary.
Yeah. So all the Jets really need a QB to do is to come in there, play smart, be able to read a defense, and throw smart passes. Now, as long as the receivers can get open, catch the ball, I don't care what the last name of that jersey is. As long as they can catch, Aaron Rodgers is going to put the ball in their hands.
Right.
As much as I wouldn't want to see Aaron Rodgers win another Super Bowl or nothing, and I'm not saying that they're just going to win the Super Bowl, because I'm not truly believe that. I just know they're going to go to the playoffs. They're going to have a legit chance at one. But it's just going to make the AFC really exciting because right now the AFC is the powerhouse conference.
Oh yeah, the AFC East did get. I mean, you can't ignore the fact that it got more exciting.
So now Buffalo ain't the fucking king, ain't the fucking big boys around anymore. That spot's up for grabs. Like they don't even get, they shouldn't even get like the big talk anymore. You got the Jets now; they're serious contenders. And then if somehow Tua stays healthy and Miami's there, you have three great good teams in the AFC. There's only one team that's hanging up, and that's the Pats.
But you know that no matter what happens, even the announcers are just the announcers, the league.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be on Aaron Rodgers' dick.
They're gonna they're gonna shit on the Jets because it's the Jets. Rodgers can be on the Jets. Yes, they're gonna dick ride Rodgers, but they're gonna just shit on the Jets. Oh, it's the Jets. Nobody expects the Jets to win, no matter having Rodgers or not. Blah blah blah. They can dick ride Rodgers all they want to, but it's the Jets. I mean, so I totally expect them to shit on the Jets this year.
Oh yeah,
because,
I mean they're not going to get
the Jets.
They're not going to get respect until they do something. Just like Detroit won't get respect. The only why I feel like Detroit's starting to get that respect is because of how this last year played out.
Right.
While they were all talking shit, we made every announcer, we made everybody at the fucking ticket eat their fucking words.
They know had we made the playoffs last year, nobody wanted the playoffs. They were scared to playoffs last year. Had we been able to crack the playoffs, had the fucking Seahawks done their damn job and got us into the playoffs last year, we would have.
Technically the Rams.
The Rams, yeah.
The Seahawks did their job. They won that game.
Yeah. Had the Rams done their job, got us into the playoffs.
It was cool to see how much Ram players came out and said, "Sorry, Detroit, we tried our hardest," and I generally felt they did.
Yeah, they tried.
That game went down to the wire.
Right, and, it really did.
And I give them all nothing but respect for that because I feel like they generally went out there and tried to win that game just for us, just for the fact that they know they would never win a Super Bowl if we didn't make the trade for Stafford and Goff.
Yeah, right.
Because exactly. Goff and the head coach McVay's relationship at that point was too far apart.
Yeah.
So they knew if we didn't swap QBs that they probably would never even got that far.
Right.
Previous. And so I mean it's cool to see respect. And you're right, the Jets, they're just like us. We're only starting to get our respect because, we made a lot of people eat the words. Every announcer is like, oh, well, when's Campbell getting fired? The ticket. Like I said, the ticket by week 6 was talking about fucking firing Campbell, Holmes, fucking everybody.
Yep. We go through it every year. Have the optimism week 1, 2, 3, 4. And then by week 6 or week 5, oh, I'm sick of this. Sell the team, blah, blah, blah. F the Fords. Then week 6, week 7, oh, fire the whole fucking team and fire the coaches and fire this. It's the typical same, fair weather Lions fans and blah, blah, blah. So, we got to be used to it by now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the average, year being a Lions fan.
And we know being the diehards, we know what's going to happen. And it'll be, if it kicks off the same as it did last year for some unknown, ugly, God forbid reason, week 1 through 3 or week 1 through 4, you'll have those optimistic fair weather Lions fans. Here we go. Lions football, Lions season. Yes, let's get it. We start losing or whatever on some unknown God forbid reason. Week 5. Here we go. Same old Lions, same bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Week 6. all right, let's fire them. Here we go. Blah, fire the team, sell the team. Martha, the Fords, you need to sell the fucking team. And it'll be the same shit from there on out, And then we turn it around like we did this season, and then they'll jump right back on the bandwagon. It's your typical bandwagon fair weather fans that you see them when we're winning, and when you don't see, or when we're not winning, they're as silent as crickets that are in the same room as you. So,
I was gonna say, so like that was like one of the reasons why I was actually a Stafford hater when he went to the Rams.
why?
Okay, so mind you, like I said, we talked about earlier, at first I was pissed, then I was okay with it. And then I was like, I'm going to root for Stafford. Hopefully, he gets a Super Bowl. What made me actually turn to a Stafford hater and actually root against and root for Cincinnati over LA is I couldn't take the fair weather fans because I was a Stafford lifer here. I stuck up for Stafford. I would do research to prove people that he was a top 10 QB, that could win a Super Bowl, the whole 9 yards here. And everybody would come at me fucking sideways. And then watching half of these motherfuckers all be on Stafford's riding to the Super Bowl with them, buying shirts saying LA Rams or the Detroit Rams and stuff.
Yeah.
To support them. When all that shit started happening, I was like, all right, you guys fucked it up for me. Because this guy gave you 12 years of dedication football, playing through injuries, regardless, losing record after losing record. The motherfucker never asked for a trade. He never asked for nothing. He just wanted to win, and he wanted to win here. And our franchise at the time and our coaches that we had completely fucked a good team up when they inherited it. Screwed that all up to go 10 times backwards to a whole nother rebuild. And then every fan that sat here and talked shit about Stafford was over there rooting for LA. And I'm like, okay, no, I can't root for you now. Because I'm like, now this shit's just getting too stupid. Like I'm not going to become be claimed as a bandwagon fan because everybody wants to run around in Detroit with Detroit Rams shirts on. Like I thought that was the most stupid thing. And I'm not saying every Lions fan did that, but the majority, but you're in a lot of the groups I'm in, the Lions fans.
Right, yep.
And a good majority, they were posting article about the Rams. I'm like, dude, this is the Detroit football. We do not give a shit about the Rams. Like, I don't care if Stafford threw for 800 yards and 16 touchdowns last night. Don't care.
Yep, exactly.
Like,
yep.
It's cool to root for somebody that gave your franchise all, but I'm not going to sell my soul for him to win a freaking Super Bowl and me to become a fan of a whole different team and for a state that I do not care about. Like, I do not like California by any means. I will never go back. I might have to go back to take my daughter to, maybe, if she ever asks for that for a vacation. But other than that, I don't plan to go back.
Fair enough.
So it's like, I'm not going to put so much energy in the rooting for the Rams at this point now. Because, like, I've always been a hometown sport. Like, granted, I can understand why you're a Lions fan. What blows my mind sometimes is, like, when you talk to somebody and they're like, oh, yeah, I was born and raised in Colorado. How did you become a fan of the Lions? I just turned TV on and became a fan. I'm like,
oh, I can't stand that shit.
I'm like, you got a whole fucking team in your whole state. Like, I understand you live in fucking, St. Missouri, Missouri. I understand that. Or a state like Connecticut or a state like Alabama that has no pro teams. Now I can understand you being fans of like other fan bases, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. I just like I find it odd because it's like ever since I was born, I was always preached. Red Wings. Red Wings was the first. Hockey was the first sport ever. I knew the sport by the time I was 4. I knew who Sergei Fedorov by the time I was 4 and 5 years old. Yep. I was running around saying saying he was my favorite. By the time I was 6, Darren McCarty was my favorite, and stayed my favorite until this day. And then like Eiserman, Blariano, Constantine, all those guys. I knew hockey. I didn't start getting into football until probably junior high. And at this time, I was already 12, 13 years old, right in there.
Yeah.
About I would say probably 10. No, I lied a little bit. I was into football, but like what I meant to say was not on my own. By 11, between 11 and 13 is when I started watching it every week on my own. Without my father, without my grandfather, I would watch it on my own completely. I would follow stuff up, look stuff up, learn the game, learn players, stats, and all that, all on my own. Before that, I would watch football with my dad if he was watching it. Like if he was watching Michigan on Saturday, I would watch it with him. If he was watching Lions on Sunday, I would watch it with him. Same thing with, and then hockey, I would watch by myself or with my dad or my grandfather growing up, because hockey, like I said, by 6, 7, I knew everything about hockey. At 7 years old, I was going to Wings games weekly because my grandpa's had season tickets ever since I've been 1. So ever since I was
right.
8. So, I always told him I was his good luck. I was his good luck grandkid because he actually was really pissed when he became grandfather. So he was only 35. So it took him a minute to adjust to being a grandpa and to actually for him to kind of be a grandpa to me in a weird way, because he had to go through that transition like, fuck, he's a grandfather at 35, you know what I mean? So I always told him, well, you should be thankful because when I was born, that's the first year we made the playoffs. And then we made the playoffs from that year all the way till I turned 25 years old. So every year the playoff streak went, I was another year older. So from 91 all the way till our last year was 25. So from not even being 1 till I was 25 years old, I never seen the Wings not make the playoffs.
There you go.
So like I was actually spoiled as a kid because he had season tickets. So I got to go see a lot of the older great players before they truly left.
Right.
Like, I've been at game. I've never seen McCarty. I've seen many games of McCarty fall. I've seen Wayne Gretzky play in front of my eyes and actually still be good. And then I've seen Wayne Gretzky when he wasn't that good in his last year when he retired. So like, I've got to see cool things. I've got, I got to meet Gordie Howe, Ted Lindsay. Matter of fact, last week or week before, I met Darren McCarty for like the 3rd time. Actually, took my best friends to the Wings game, and
I saw that. I saw that on Facebook where he gave the kid a gift card.
I didn't even know he had the gift card. Was the best part is we were getting our ass kicked that game because it was like a second to our third. It was like a 3rd game to the end of the season. So we had 2 more as the last home game. And we were getting our ass kicked already. It was like 3-0 already in the first period. So the usher at the new stadium that I just met the week previously, when I went to the game with my grandfather, we were like 6 of us all went. Like my dad, my sister, and all of us, we all went. And so I met the usher that actually controls his section. And I seen him right before we went up, and he recognized me. He's like, "Oh, you guys are back." And I'm like, "No, just me and my best friend." And then he brings his son, that's 1. And because I think it's like 2 years old, then you got to pay for them after they're 2. But between 1 and 2, you can actually take your kid to an NHL game for free. You don't have to pay extra for that.
Sweet.
So I told him, and I was like, yeah, they bring their 1-year-old kid because he can come for free. And he's like, well, make sure you go to guest services because they'll give him a certificate and it'll say like his first Red Wing game ever. It'll say who we're playing and the date. And you can take the certificate home and frame it, and then they can have it for when they get older to see what date and time and when they went to the first game. So after the first admission, we go to the bathroom and stuff, and we get done. And my buddy's wife's like, hey, you care if we go to the guest services? I'm like, well, we might as well. We're already losing 3-0. Ain't like it's gonna be a big deal if we miss a couple minutes of the period. So we go downstairs, and it was funny because at the seats, I tell my best friend that I'm like, because I see McCarty on the big screen because he was doing the show, and then they showed him doing the before the game started, he was doing they did the military, but they honored the military person, give him a free jersey and stuff like that. McCarty was the one that did all that. So I was like, we're losing 3-0. I'm like, we could take little Kenny and go see if we can find McCarty, just jokingly, So we go downstairs, and I'm like, oh shit, look, there's McCarty right there. That's where they're doing the show. So they went to guest services, and I'm like, I'm going to stand over here and see if I can't get little Kenny an autograph. And my buddy was like, you're not going to be able to get an autograph, kind of like, I'm like, trust me, I'll get one if I get an opportunity. So they come up, they're like, you ready to go back to seats? I'm like, let's finish watching this. So I'm like, I'm serious about trying to get him autographs. They're like, okay. So at the end of they're getting done with the show, and the director threw me off because he stands up and he's like looking at McCarty, and he's going like kind of like this, like with his finger. So then McCarty gets up with his bag. He pulls his bag up from his feet, and he stands up, and he gets everybody screaming. He's putting his hands up, and everybody scream, and then he starts throwing T-shirts. So of course, we all try to get a T-shirt, but the one they threw by me, he threw way over my head. Like I would have to be like Shaquille O'Neal to grab it. It was so high, So I'm like, and then he threw the bag, too in the crowd. So I'm like, okay, he's done giving away free gimmies, So and then he stepped back, and then he walked to the back of the stage, and I think he either got something or threw something away. And as he bent down, I was like, hey, D-Man. And he looked up, and I was like, hey, man, we got a first-time Wing fan here. First time ever at a game, he's only one. Can we get you to sign something? And he's like, yeah, give me a minute. I said, take your time. So I'm like, cool, man, we're going to get autographed. So then he comes down off the stage, and he walks right past us and completely passes us up. And I'm like, is this going to be one of those asshole moves? Like, you're not going to do it now? And then as he gets to by his son, where my buddy's holding his kid, it was funny as hell because they connected eyes, and they were just staring at each other. And then McCarty nonchalantly just slips him the gift card to the kid. No one even knew he had the gift card to give away.
Right.
He just did it surprised. We looked back, both of us, and my buddy even snatched it out of the kid's hands so he didn't lose it because we were that surprised that he gave us a gift card. And then he went down to the corner where there was a table, and I'm still standing there waiting for him to come back, and the security guard's like, come on, he's waiting on you guys. And so we walked over there, and he signed a certificate and for him and said to Kenneth, from DMAC 25. And then the best part was we left there, we shook his hand, we told him thank you, and we went back to the seats. As we get up to the seats, my buddy's like, well, I guess and he's like, where's this gift card from? I'm like, I don't know, look at it. So he pulls it back out, and he's like, okay, it's to Meyer. He goes, how much is this thing for? He looks at the bottom and says amount, $500.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, well, that's a win. He's like, my
Right.
buddy's like, well, I guess I owe you a pizza and beer now, don't I? I said, man, that's on you. I'm like, you want to buy me another beer? I'm cool with it. But I'm like, I just did it just to make sure I got your son something that he'll always remember as he gets older that I
Right.
made happen. You know, that's what I grew up with. So like, and then then football actually became dominant over hockey for me. I still watch. I'm getting back into hockey now. I will say that. See, my
Okay.
problem. See, my problem is I drove a truck for almost 10 years before. So now it's like the first time, like it's been about 3 years, I think already, that I finally got to sit in one place every day. So now hockey's starting to, it's coming back to me.
Right.
Like
Makes
now
sense now.
I'm craving to watch it. Football was so much easier to pay attention to because it was one day of the week, except Sunday and Thursday, Mondays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
But the Lions
Hockey.
Lions only played one day a week. If I missed the
Yeah.
Monday night game, I didn't really care. I just put it on the radio. If I missed the Thursday night game, really, excuse me, really didn't care. But if I had to miss a Sunday night game and listen on the radio driving, I was pissed.
That's fair.
I mean, even though I had to listen to a lot on the radio. Because if you get to a state and they just don't have the Lions game on, then you're just fucked. You know.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything tonight, Bum.
Pretty close. Minus college football.
Yeah, minus college.
We can probably cover that another night. I'm sure they're probably tired of listening to us tonight.
I want to definitely. It would be a bad idea to talk a little college. I'm kind of looking into like maybe during the season, the season comes, maybe put in a couple more shows together. Maybe do a college show one night, and then and then maybe even try to set up like a whole Lions broadcast through the season.
Well, if you want to do a college night, I'll hop on. I mean, I'll hop on anytime you need me or want me or whatever. I'll hop on if I'm off or if I'm home or whatever. I'm usually up pretty late, so I'll hop on and talk. I can always talk football. I can talk baseball. I can talk hockey. The only sports I can't talk are like tennis, golf, cricket. So don't even get me started on those. We can't do those. Sorry.
I feel you. I can play golf. It's hard for me to watch it though. I can watch it sometimes.
Yeah,
Depends.
I can play golf all day long, but I mean, if you turn it on, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, it's hard to watch unless it's something really exciting. But
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you get me talking about football, you get me talking about hockey, you get me talking about baseball, I can go for another 3-4 hours, talking about whatever. But yeah, if you need me, just shoot me a message in the inbox or whatever. Let me know what we're talking about, and we can go for hours, man. Just give me a holler, and we can work something out.
will do, buddy. I appreciate you joining the show tonight. Really enjoyed talking to you. Definitely going to have you on hopefully Thursday, and then we'll definitely do some more shows throughout the season.
All right, brother.
Anyways, guys, people still watching, thank you for joining us tonight on the 4th&GOAL broadcast. If you're following us on Kick, do me a favor, please like and follow our page. We go live every Sunday with David on the Sunday Night Spectacular, and then either Tuesday and Thursdays I have a fan on, like tonight it's Nate. We talk about their team. It's not always the Lions. Also looking for fans across all 32 to interview. So if you're interested in that, please DM me. We'll hook a show up. If not, follow on Facebook, Kick, Instagram, Twitch, even Twitter. I'm live on Twitter too. Other than that, Thank you for joining us. And our next broadcast will be Thursday for the first round draft. We'll be going live, kind of like a fun night. We'll just be talking football and draft and what's happening as we're on air. So other than that, we'll catch you next time. Thank you, guys. Thank you again, Nate.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Man. All right, buddy.
Have a good, brother.
You too, man.